Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the newest discussion we're having about a TV show with me and Kyle Entertainment. We have decided, well, I have decided, and I drag Kyle with me to watch Arcane. For me, it's the second time. I already watched it when it was airing week to week, but I didn't actually watch it week to week. I waited until it was all done and binged it all at one go. And Kyle, go ahead. You give your history with Arcane.
In one go, he says, like in a 1 9 hour period.
No. It was it was probably like 2 days or something, but I binged it where I didn't have to wait basically between weeks.
Now that's crazy. Now, a little Miller told me that they were released in 3 episode batches. I'm sure I heard that at some point, but I was reminded of that. I think I watched one episode every day for the last days, counting backwards from three. So 3, 2, 1, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
I understand, yes.
Oh, EliteAri, I forgot my great intro where I was going to sing to the Imagine Dragons song. I was going to go, oh, not the misery, EliteAri, but the middery. Because it's a mid show that's really shit. And it was gonna be really funny. And I was singing that in my head all day because I thought it was hilarious.
Wow.
EliteAri, they got this meme intro song that everybody's heard a million times. You know, we love
you've heard it before.
We love JID. I couldn't believe he was on an Imagine. I like that rapper that's not in the intro. He's in that song though, EliteAri. Now I assume what's going to happen is that in episode 9, when these dumb sisters are fighting or some shit, they're going to play the full song and it's going to be really epic and stuff. Like anime do that sometimes. And maybe you know the rapping verse from the song from that. But otherwise, you're going to be like, I didn't know there was a rapper in that song. There is EliteAri, you idiot. You can't say which because it will spoil my prediction I just made about the dumb song being at the end.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, I hit the microphone, EliteAri. Is everything fucked up?
You're fine, don't worry.
Okay.
But all right, Kyle, you got to clarify some things here. Firstly, did you know about this song because of Arcane, or did you just know this like independently?
I'm pretty sure this was like the #1 song at the time. I think it came out before the show, but I think it was for the show.
Yeah, I'm like pretty confident it is. Yeah. That was my first question.
And then it became a bit of an internet meme.
What are you talking about?
A rapper is good, you idiot.
Oh, okay.
Well, you see, the song is called Enemy, EliteAri. It's by Imagine Dragons, a band. You know Imagine Dragons, right?
Yes, indeed.
Name other Imagine Dragons songs. Go ahead.
I can't possibly do that, but I have heard of the name. I played them in Beat Saber.
Shut up. You ever heard that song Radioactive?
Yes, if it's the like famous one, yes.
Yep, that's them. You ever heard the song Demons? That one's a little bit more underground. No. You probably have, but you're forgetting it.
Right.
I don't know. They got a bunch of them. Believer, that's a big song from them. Anyway, everybody thinks Imagine Dragons is like the funniest, shittiest band to meme on, like Coldplay. You're familiar with the discourse around Coldplay, EliteAri?
No, not at all. I don't know.
Well, you see, EliteAri doesn't know anything about music. Yeah. But anyway, it's funny. Everybody likes this song by the shitty band, basically. But they're a very popular band. Now, that means like normal people like them, but everybody on the internet really hates them, EliteAri.
Yep.
And they made the song. Now, JID, the rapper, who you didn't even know about because they don't play that part of the song. And honestly, I don't remember that part of the song really at all. He's like kind of a little bit of an underground rapper and he's very good and we all like him. So them doing a song together for a Netflix show based on League of Legends is pretty funny and you're missing out on all the jokes.
Okay.
And EliteAri, because I knew this song was in it. So I was like, oh, it's going to be cool when that song plays. I wonder when that song's going to play. Unironically, that's probably the only thing I was thinking about going in. And then it was the fucking intro song. And it was like the slowest part of the song too. And I was like, well, what the fuck is the point of this? I think the outro song is a Billie Eilish song. I'm not sure. You know who Billie Eilish is?
There's a different one every ending, so at least I think
there was. One of them was.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the rest, but yeah.
Right.
She's pretty famous too, EliteAri. She's like younger than me, and that pisses me off.
Right.
But now there's plenty of pop girls that are younger than me, so. But once upon a time, it was just Billie Eilish.
Okay.
She was born in December of 2001.
Okay, we're moving on from the music because I don't care about the music whatsoever. There was music in this.
That's
it was
the most interesting part.
Right.
And it was going to be a great intro, but anyway.
You said it in retrospect. Everyone's laughing right now, thinking about how funny it would have been. Okay, Kyle. Seriously, what are your overall thoughts on what you've seen so far?
Now, there's more meta to this. Now, Arcane, I've heard about it. People have been telling me to watch it. At some point, I was going to react to it or some shit. That's what we were talking about on stream. That never happened, thank God. And I'm trying to gauge what everybody thought. I'm trying to recall. Now, EliteAri has a video that is about the scene at the end of episode 3. I remembered it when I saw the ending visual and it like zoomed out and it was like all in like it was framed in the little like semicircle thing. And I remember thinking that was cool when I saw it in your video. Now, I don't remember what your take on that thing was. Now, I know there's a bunch of videos about how well written Arcane is, and when it first came out, everybody was like, "Oh my god, it's actually good." Everybody thought the show was going to be shit because it's a Netflix show and it's about League of Legends.
Yep.
And I remember a bunch of streamers that I watched at the time going to the premiere event to EliteAri. So I'm clued into. I know everything about Arcane basically, more than you.
Right. Probably.
But
Yeah.
anyway, where was I going with this? Oh, everybody's opinions of it. So I couldn't. Ari's like saying that he's writing a video about it, so he's going to rewatch it, so that we may as well do it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to watch this shit show. And then eventually he convinced me. I don't remember how. I don't know why I'm here, but he did. And I was like, what does EliteAri think about this show? And then I remember somebody. I don't remember if it was EliteAri or Jarky Bacon, that other fellow we talk to on this channel sometimes, or it could have been Miller, or it could have been somebody. But somebody at some point said Arcane is like, bro, it's like everything's so well written, but it just doesn't engage me. And that sounds like the most Jarky Bacon thing anybody's ever said in their lives. So I'm assuming that Jarky Bacon said that, but EliteAri could have said that. So I'm trying to figure out what Ari thinks, trying to remember what that video was about, and trying to reconcile this with how fucking mediocre this goddamn shitty show is, EliteAri.
Right.
See how I built that all up and back into it?
Yeah, it all tied in. Well, I'm not going to confirm
Remember when
anything because the show goes on for 2 more parts, so I'm not going to say what happens. But there is one thing I can say, which is that the video, like my short video, which is my worst video I've ever made, the most cringeworthy thing, I rewatched it before this, God. That's standalone. Like that, you can watch that. It's only just about the ending of this particular episode. Yeah.
I was going to ask you earlier today and then watch it before this, but I forgot, and I don't prepare very much, so I didn't recall. Yeah. But cool, I can watch that EliteAri video in context, even though I know I watched it before. But... Oh, I was going to transition it, but I forgot.
All right, well,
thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I can confirm that my understanding. Firstly, I haven't played League of Legends, so I don't know anything about League of Legends. I have friends who play it. Every now and then, a character name will pop up in this, and I'm like, oh my god, that's that name my friends always say. So that's my only exposure to that. From what I gather, everyone loves this show. It's like everyone's like, oh my god, it's like a 10 out of 10. This is the greatest thing of this. It's like a contender for like the greatest things in the 2020s or whatever. That's what I gather about the show. All my friends love it. That's what I've taken from that. I can't give my thoughts yet because the show's still going. I would say rewatching these 3 episodes, I thought they were fantastic, is what I would say. I thoroughly was engaged, unlike what Kyle was saying before about not being engaged or whatever. And episode 3, I thought it's one important thing to say is that it feels very different watching the first time versus the second time. The first time especially because I knew nothing. All I knew when I was watching it was that, oh my god, people are saying the show is actually good. And I'm like, oh, there's no way this is actually going to be good. And I watched episode 1 and I was like, okay, I don't understand why people like this. Like it's okay, but it's like the animation looks okay, it's nothing amazing. And then I watched episode 2 and I was like, okay, that's really good. I enjoyed that quite a lot. Then episode 3 happened and I was like, oh my god, this is it's comfortably in the top 10 episodes of anything I've ever seen in my life. And yeah. No. And then on the rewatch, it absolutely is the case. Like that 3rd episode stands up to me still, because of one important reason, which is Powder, who is easily my favorite character in these first 3 episodes, like by far. It's not even close, which I guess I could ask you, like, who's your favorite character in what we've seen so far?
I have a whole point about this, but I don't want to say it.
All right, we'll get to it later then. But for now, just know it's Powder for me. And it's
you can't hear my typing, right, EliteAri?
Not at all, no. I wish I could, it'd be a cool sound effect, but nothing.
I got 5 notes. 5.
But yeah, those are my thoughts on Arcane on a rewatch. But
well, you idiot, if you let me interrupt you like you used to, yes, we could have done the whole what I knew beforehand before we did overall thoughts, because now we're backtracking, because now I got to give my spiel about how much I know about League of Legends.
Go ahead.
And that is nothing. But, I've watched streamers and stuff. So obviously I know the blue-haired one is Jinx, and obviously I know that everybody wants to fuck her, so we're going to see a time skip unless everybody's a real pedophile.
Where did you hear that from?
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Jinx porn, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow, okay.
I know she's the blue-haired one.
Okay.
Vi, I've heard before. I remember, I don't think I knew they were sisters, but I think I watched a YouTube video about Arcane that talked about them being sisters. Well, so I did forget that the show was about them fighting until episode 3, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's about the sisters fighting, not them looking after each other for the whole show. So now I recall that. When they said Vander, I was like, that's a dude. Keep going. That's a dude that punches. I know that.
Wait, Vander?
Wait, from
League of Legends or from the show you knew?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he's in League of Legends, as far as I understand. I mean, maybe he is, but yeah.
Yes, he is.
I'm pretty confident he's not. But yeah, okay, doesn't matter.
Well, anyway, I assumed that then. Because there's one that punches, but maybe I was just thinking about Vi. Now, Vi. I did play League of Legends for like 2 days once, but like that was like 10 years ago, and you had to do like offline stuff to like learn the game. Also, I knew some of the moments where we were supposed to soy out because the League of Legends stuff was on
Ooh, what are
screen.
they?
Like when they first go into the underground, and in one of the cages is one of the little rock things you fight if you do the forest. It's called the jungle, EliteAri.
Oh.
So that was one of them. That's, I think, the only one I remember, besides character names and
So you know way more than
something,
me.
something.
I didn't soy out at anything. The only time I did is when they said Victor, and I'm like, oh my god, there's a character called Victor. I know that name. And they like paused on it a bit. I'm pretty sure it's like one of the champions in League of Legends.
Which one's Victor again?
The assistant scientist guy with Jace. But yeah, he's the one where, like, I've heard this name before. It was like a massive revelation. But yeah. So that was the only thing I soyed out to, I guess.
Yeah. And I knew that when they started calling Jinx Powder, that was like the fake name.
Right.
And they had the whole thing about how she's a Jinx, and I cringed. But that's besides the point. We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
What else did I know beforehand? I don't know. I was just waiting for it to bust into team-based MOBA combat, EliteAri. That's what we're here for, right?
Yes, indeed.
But other than that, now what else did I write down, EliteAri? You wanted to talk about favorite characters. You said one thing about the animation. All I hear about is about how this is the most beautiful animation I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's got like the Chainsaw Man effect, where half the time it's kind of ugly and half the time it looks good, but it's all trying to look good. So that was my point about the animation.
Okay, wait, we'll stop in there. So the animation or the art? What are you talking about there?
Oh my god.
The movement, the dynamic like action sequences and stuff, or like the actual art?
It's a little iffy sometimes. I guess it's both.
Because this is a big point. Because obviously everyone, the number one thing people praise about Arcane is the style. So if you have an issue with the style, you're obviously gonna have a lot of people in the comments frustrated right now.
It's,
okay.
I don't know. It's kind of weird looking sometimes. I don't like how the mouths move a lot. I think it's off sometimes, but whatever.
Off. I think it's the opposite, where to me Arcane seems like it is incredibly precise to exactly what they're saying.
And it's jarring. Yeah,
it might be
that's
that.
possible.
Yeah.
I feel that way with the facial animation sometimes. There's one scene where Vi is like crying behind the door. Now, obviously, I hate these scenes because these are characters I don't care about, crying about situations I don't care about, and being annoying. So I hated that. We've gone over my storied history with hating even characters I like crying. So I wasn't vibing with this. But the way she was, I feel like the way like her body was emoting, or how she was animated. I feel like it went in like not every frame, because obviously I can't perceive every frame, but every frame I was like, oh, that looks really good and detailed. Oh, that looks shit. And it happened like 3 times in 3 seconds, and I was like, oh. And I think it just is the level of I don't know how to explain animation, EliteAri. I didn't go to school for this shit.
The level of realism.
It might be like, yeah, something like that. It looks a little weird, but whatever. The show's visuals, take them or leave them. It's not going to make or break it for me.
Well, I think for a lot of people, the visuals are what sell Arcane. I would say that for like that could easily sell the entire show just on visual alone. The other thing is, have you seen any other 3D animated like things in the modern era? I guess, like, have you seen Spider-Verse? I guess to me, like the number one comparison is obviously Spider-Verse. Like they look very similar. Is there anything else you've seen? Do you watch Pixar movies that are recent or anything like that?
Hold on, I'm writing down Mushoku Tensei.
All right, okay.
It's not what I was talking about, but that's something else I gotta bring up. 3D animation I've seen in real life recently. I don't watch any of these Pixar movies.
Did you watch the Puss in Boots movie?
No, I did not. Keep going with other examples.
Well, I don't really have examples because I don't watch any either. But do you usually like 3D animation, or do you have like an aversion to it usually? Because I know that's a big thing for some people.
That's actually a good question, because I remember thinking Pixar movies looked good, and then I watched some of the trailers for the new ones, and I'm like, this looks a little weird. So maybe I just haven't been trained to like modern 3D animation.
All right. Well,
so maybe,
I guess we'll see. We'll revisit this at the end of the show, see if anything changes. Another thing people probably point out is, because obviously a lot of information has come out about like the production of this show. And the surprising bit of information, at least to me, and I feel like most people, is that a lot of this was also 2D animated. As far as I understand, most of the backgrounds are like entirely just 2D painted, and they're made to seem 3-dimensional by like, I don't know, however they parallax things and whatever. I don't know anything about creating 3D things, but
can you spell parallax for me?
Oh, easily. Paralax, something like that. But maybe there's 2 R's and 2 L's. I have no idea. But anyway, yeah.
Wasn't as big a word as I thought, huh?
Yes. Arcane, good. Mix of 2D and 3D. I love how it looks. Kyle, he can leave it or take it. Now we know.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not here to
Okay.
shit on
Any
the
other
fucking
notes before
visuals. I'm
we?
here to shit on the rest.
Yeah. What are your issues here, Kyle?
What I knew beforehand, and one that just says mid. I can delete those. Favorite characters we'll get to. I guess this is where we bring up Mushoku Tensei. You remember once upon a time, EliteAri, we watched Mushoku Tensei together
Indeed.
on this very channel.
Yes.
If people love Mushoku Tensei, they can go and watch us talk about all those episodes, except for those last 2 from season 2, because you didn't let me in. Great episodes. We love them. And what did I say about Mushoku Tensei, EliteAri? I said that
It was
shit was
generic.
generic. Trash. Let me tell you something. This Arcane makes Mushoku Tensei look like Berserk. My goodness, is everything nuanced in Mushoku Tensei. I love it. Oh my god, every plot beat in this fucking show, every character interaction, every line of dialogue. The most generic thing I've ever seen in my life. Now, I will say, this ties into my other note, that episode 3 was the best one. The last, 5 minutes of episode 3 was legitimately interesting.
Ooh, okay. I agree. So
and
I made a
me
video
thinking about a few things, so I understand why you made a video. Now, it could have been a little bit better if the evil dude wasn't so obviously evil. Now, they could twist that a little bit, because it could be epic if this fucking V and Vander shit and their, philosophy and their side is the bad guys in the end. And Jinx goes with the other ones and likes them. But I feel like it's going to be, at some point she's going to beat up the bad guy with the eye because he's going to do something a little too far, or they're going to reveal the thing that he killed for Vander and some boring fucking drama you've seen a million times, or it could be cool. But we'll talk about that when we get to episode 3 or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It was a little generic at every turn, EliteAri. I don't know what you like about this show.
Yeah, I guess
I'd say my only other,
go ahead,
because I think you'll talk about this all in tandem, is my only other thought was that I really didn't like most of the dialogue either, and I thought a lot of it was cringeworthy. So those are probably the extent of my overall thoughts. We still have to talk about favorite characters, but retort the stuff I just said.
Yeah, so I would agree with you on the generic thing. To me, it does feel incredibly generic. In that I think I've seen every plot element so far. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this before. Yeah, I've seen this before. I've seen this scientist who's like, oh, he actually has the truth, but the people higher up don't see the genius in him and they don't believe in him or whatever. I've seen that a million times before. I see this father who is, well, a pseudo father figure or whatever. He's trying to do the best for this city of people, but everyone is all turning against him. Yeah, he's got he's trying to be a good dad, but a good leader, but he can't be a good dad and a good leader, and everyone is turning against him even because he can't there's no good choice here or whatever. I've seen that a million times before,
And he's not that man anymore, EliteAri.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everything in this is very generic. Even this troop of kids who are going and they're stealing things and they're coming back to this home city and there's thugs and stuff. It's all very generic. I just think it just works really well. It truly is to me the engagement of just loving. I think it's the combination of the visuals, which I think are really fun to just look at, and the combination of just the story, the plot. I find the plot interesting. Even small things, the small relationship between Vander and the Grayson, the enforcer woman. Just a small relationship like that, where you've seen it a million times before, and it's okay, we got this the good guy representing the good side, you got this bad person representing a bad side or whatever, and they're coming together and they have this under the table kind of relationship from the past or whatever. And I know I've seen it before, but it's so engaging to hear these two characters talk. So I don't know what it is, but I like it.
I mean, yeah, generic doesn't make something bad or whatever, but it doesn't make it the most interesting thing. You did say the plot. I feel like the first 2 episodes had no plot. It was just they do a heist, and then they do science, and it was
yeah, okay. I would say when I first watched it, I also thought the same thing. To me, it's interesting because a lot of the things that happen later are seeded from obviously these initial things that happen here. So it's oh, this is where this started, and oh, it's so interesting seeing this character at this point in their life. There's a lot of retrospect kind of quality that's built into it, where you're oh, I'm watching it, seeing what comes later, knowing what happens. It's much more interesting this way. Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see if things change as we go forth. But anything else before we go into the actual episodes? Any standout things you want to talk about?
The scientist boy was the worst one.
Wait, the Jace? That scientist, or?
Yeah, oh my god, the earnest character like that, I just wanted him to die the whole time, but that's besides the point. Okay. Except for the little rat dude, he was annoying too.
Wait, Heimerdinger? The scientist guy, okay, yeah. Jesus. Because there was a rat, and it killed
whole
a
show
cat.
Also... Wait, go ahead.
No, there was a rat, and it killed a cat, and I'm are you talking about that rat?
Oh, but, yeah, no, not that one.
Okay.
The, fuck, what was I going to say about something?
Something at the end, I don't know. It's lost. Fuck. Jace, the earnestness, the Heimerdinger, the scientist, Mel, the council member. I got no idea. It's lost, Kyle.
I'll never remember it. He was my least favorite character. He's the worst. I do agree that Jinx was the best character in the beginning because she was
Who's
the least
Jinx?
annoying kid.
Oh, Powder. Okay, yeah.
Shut up. And then the other one was the bad guy. He was actually I kind of liked him a little bit.
Silco, that's his name.
That's his name, right? Stupid name.
A lot of
Oh,
names
my
in
point
this.
was going to be that this fucking show suffers terribly from sounding like it's a dub because every voice actor sounds like they're from a dub or something, and it was annoying. Now, two things. At first, I thought Vander was fucking Gates from Black Sails, but I don't think he is.
Oh,
They just
I
have
can hear
similar
it.
raspy voices.
Yeah,
And I
sure.
was just thinking, remember when we were watching Black Sails and there were scenes in Bar? No, that's the greatest show of all time. Black Sails is better than Arcane, right, EliteAri?
I can't comment because we haven't seen all of Arcane. I can't say anything. We'll have to wait till it's done and then I can tell you.
Name one thing that's better than Black Sails. Exactly.
I don't know. But Black Sails is very good, all right? I like Black Sails a lot.
Good, he said.
It's one of the greatest things I've seen in my life. And anyone listening right now, if you're doubting it, you're like, oh, I don't want to watch a pirate show.
Yeah.
Go watch it, all right?
Yes.
You're just like, you're prejudiced against it for no reason, and you should watch it. It'll be the greatest thing you've ever seen. It's surprising, it's great, it's engaging, got cool action, got cool characters, got cool monologues. It's stellar. So yeah.
Very well done, EliteAri. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Now, oh, and the fucking the girl that you said you were liking, the enforcer girl, she's definitely that one girl from the pilot of Mad Men. Wait, no, it's not in the pilot. And I was confusing her with the German girl. When the Israelis come in and they want to make Israel a good place where people want to visit and tourists and stuff. She sounds exactly like that. Now, that girl seemed like she was 95 in that Mad Men episode in 2007. So I don't know if that's just a voice character type.
I love the voice though. It's very cool.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
I know her from The Punisher. That's the only thing I've seen her in. She was like the mum of some character in that show. But I know she's also, everyone knows her these days. Yeah, it is a live action thing. But everyone knows her from The Expanse. I'm pretty sure she's like a big character in that show. But I haven't seen it.
We could be watching The Expanse instead of the EliteAri. My goodness.
Very true, yeah. All right.
Anyway, sound like dub characters.
Oh yeah, the dub, that's right.
That's fucking shit.
I don't know, it doesn't stand out to me. Dub, I love dub characters.
Overacting nonsense, making me cringe, you know. I bet Pixar movies don't sound like this.
Who do you think was the best actor? Whose voice you're like, oh my god, that was great?
I don't know, but you reminded me just now that V, I was sure was fucking, oh my god. Yeah, shut up. I was sure it was, how am I forgetting her name? Abby from The Last of Us. The girl that's in every video game.
I don't know who that is.
But
I know that Vi has a very famous voice actor.
Fuck. Oh, did you see they cast Abby in The Last of Us TV show today, EliteAri? That's crazy. Abby, The Last
Oh my god. No, we're getting distracted.
Shut up. Laura Bailey, obviously, is the name, you idiot. But it wasn't. It wasn't. And I was like, oh, it's a similar character too. She's like a fighting girl. And then I was like, man, Abby's so much cooler than this boring bitch.
All right.
Now you're asking me the best voice.
Yeah, like the best voice performance or like voice you just.
I mean, the Vander one sounded good sometimes, and then you're like, oh my god, he's overdoing it. It's annoying me. All the kids were annoying.
Silco,
Powders was the least annoying. Yeah, but again, he was overdoing it with his fucking villainousness a bunch.
What about that tough woman who like whistled really good that one time? Do you know who I'm talking about?
The one in the bar?
Yeah, the one in the bar, yeah. I just read her, like her whistle stood out. Yeah. Loses an arm at the end.
Nah, I don't remember. There's no good voices. That's my conclusion.
All right. I'm trying to think. Is there anyone else? Jace. You must love Jace's voice, right?
No.
Okay. Victor. Victor was good. Heimerdinger. God. Mel. There's so many characters.
Oh my god. He was the worst. The little ferret. Right. He was pissing me off. Remember the really cool introduction where they do the long shot on the door and the shadow comes in, but then it's actually a small guy? Who saw that?
Did you have a positive or a negative reaction to that? You're like, oh god, it's a small guy? Were you like, oh, this is interesting, it's a small guy?
No, at first I was like, the shot started, and I thought, it's funny sometimes when they do the thing where the shadow lingers for a long time. And the shadow did linger for a long time. Like, there's no shot they're doing this right now. And it didn't even occur to me that it was going to be a small guy. And when it was a small guy, I was kind of pleasantly surprised at the most basic subversion that ever happened. And then he spoke, and I was like, oh, I don't like this little rat.
Right.
So.
Okay, well. To throw my
is he a League of Legends character?
Heimerdinger is, yes. Right? I've heard that name a million times before. It has to be.
Yeah. I had never seen him before, right?
I'd never seen him either.
About this one.
Yeah, probably not. Well, I'm sure there probably is, but yeah. Anyway, the actual true answer for the best voice actor is obviously Powder. Powder's voice actor is the best.
I assume she's gone now, so that's
an interesting assumption. Yeah. Okay.
I've seen the art on the fucking poster, you idiot.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure she's at least 15 there.
Yeah, but who knows when that actually happens? You know, there's a whole show ahead of us.
It's almost like at the very end, it was a perfect time for it to happen.
True. Episode 1. welcome to the playground. So should I just go through the recap here and we'll see what comes up as it comes up? Is that good with you, Kyle?
I think that's okay.
Okay.
How long did that intro last?
For a long time. Oh my
That's
god,
good.
isn't it the most terrifying feeling in the world where you look at OBS and it says 00 and it's next to the live? And I'm like, oh my god. But it's actually been recording. We're good. Okay. Episode 1, welcome to the playground. A pink-haired and a blue-haired girl crossing a bridge in the final moments of a battle, and they see what is probably their parents dead, and they are taken away by a man. I guess we haven't mentioned this yet, but I thought this opening was very convincing as selling the show as being like a good show, I guess. Like it's got the music, it's got the atmosphere, it looks really cool. It feels like, oh, they've actually put effort into this show. It's not like some weird like generic kind of trash, even though it is generic, Did you have any strong impression of seeing it? Were you like, oh my god, this is actually really good, or were you like, okay, this is okay?
I was like, this is, I've never seen this before. And then I thought about Killzone for some reason. Killzone Shadowfall. Ever played that game, EliteAri?
Never. I'm not a gamer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
right.
But yeah. And then the Vanderdude was beating up somebody.
Yep. And Powder is singing a song as well. So cute. Actually, there's a lot of... Actually, do I have notes? I do have notes on this. Like, particularly what I liked was... It's this very subtle... I don't know how subtle it is. To me, it felt subtle. And I wonder if you're like trying to predict what I'm saying right now as well before I say it. But anyway... They see that, or Vi sees the parents dead, and she starts crying, and Powder just doesn't know what to do, and she's like looking at Vi to decide like, what do I do? And she only like starts getting sad and like crying when she sees Vi crying, and it's like, oh, this is really a subtle bit of like not story, I guess, but like I guess story and character she didn't have to have there.
Bro, they're sisters. Yeah.
Not even necessarily that they're sisters, which I don't think they're sisters. I guess we'll see. I mean, I think they're like sisters in the same way.
Wait,
aren't
you the younger sibling, EliteAri?
No, I'm the older one.
Oh, these fucking younger siblings do this constantly, especially when you're little, and you can manipulate them into not being sad if they fall over because you just don't be sad.
Very true. However,
it was cute, but
however, I thought it was really cute. And that's all I care about in these shows, all right? Small things like that make Powder just the best character of all time. Is that what I was saying? Oh, yeah, I just had a note on that. It was great. Okay. And also, they're not sisters. In my like headcanon, at least of what we know so far, they're sisters in the same way that Milo and Clagger are like brothers or whatever. They're all like siblings. That's the way I see it. But yeah. Then we get the opening credits, which Kyle, what do you think of the visuals? Any comment on that? You didn't really comment on the visuals.
It's funny how the thing that Miller said one time about how all Netflix shows have the same intro, and it is the Black Sails intro.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it is so similar to Black Sails. Okay. Then we flash forward to Powder. These are all the names, by the way. You're going to get a bunch of names in here where you're like, I remember
Powder, Milo, Jinx, and the other one.
Powder, Vi, Milo, and Clagger. And they're stealthily maneuvering. Clagger, yeah, true. What a great name for him, isn't it? They're stealthily maneuvering around rooftops until they make it to their final destination. Yes, go ahead.
So we got this fucking group here, and this Milo kid obviously looks like a bad guy, and he also looks like a secondary character. So one of two things is going to happen, and he's antagonistic towards Powder throughout the whole thing. So either he's going to be a bad guy, or he's going to be not around for too long, and he ended up dying. So I could tell that just by character designs. I'm a predictive god. At least I think he's dead. Maybe they saved him or something. That could be crazy. Also, I don't think he's a character in League of Legends, though Milo is a name that's vague enough, and there's like 300 League of Legends champions that I was thinking maybe he is a dude. He did have Vegeta hair, which people will probably want to put on a thingy.
Sure.
But I didn't have much hope for the fat one. So okay. I think they're both dead.
All right, that's certainly interesting. Do you think, as a person, who doesn't know anything about the show, do you think that if you're a League of Legends character in this show, then you'll just survive till the end of the show? Like, do you think this is like leading up to like League of Legends or something?
Now, but it shows your role will be more important. But
really interesting. Okay, that's an interesting idea. Okay, yeah. So we flash forward. They're maneuvering around the rooftops, and their goal is to get to this like scientific engineering workshop. Basically, they go in. They try and steal some stuff, and then the owner of the workshop arrives, and Powder drops a crystal, and the whole thing explodes, and the balcony collapses, and we're like, oh my god, this is scary. Then the kids, they're chased by enforcers, and they rush back to the Undercity, and they run into a group of young thugs who fight them, while Powder runs away with all the stuff they stole.
Question. What's
the question?
So is this city actually underground, or is it just on a little bridge, and it's in a shitty part of town?
As far as I understand, it's very far underground. But I could be completely wrong about that. I don't know. The reason is that they go through the sewage system to get there, right? Remember?
Yeah.
But
And then
also
they
I
took
could
an
just be wrong
elevator.
about that. Yeah,
But
I'm
then I
pretty sure of
swear
it.
there was a shot where Vi and Jinx were talking, and like they looked up, and like there was like a shitty skyline. So
Maybe
I don't
there
know.
is. I don't know. I don't know about the details of this.
Maybe it's like that funny gag in One Piece where they're inside Laboon the whale, and it looks like they don't realize they're in a whale because the inside of the whale has been painted to be a sky and an ocean.
Mm.
Remember that? That was fun.
Yeah, it's a good
That'll
gag.
be in episode 1 of season 2. Anyway,
Yep. So
how
they
the fuck are
run.
they going to do that in live action? I hate One Piece live action.
They'll find a way.
Anyway,
It's a great
I
show.
had a second point.
Okay. About the thugs, the Undercity,
No, was there a little bit before? There were thugs. There was an explosion.
stealing stuff.
Oh, they talk about how cool Vi is and how didn't she nearly get beat up by these guys too? Didn't they like punch her a bunch? So she's
Yeah, it was
not
a pretty
actually that
even
strong,
fight.
and we've got a power scaling it.
I mean, she won the fight, so I mean, she won.
Didn't she not? Didn't she end up running away or some shit?
No, she won. Powder ran away, like little Powder.
Yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah, but Vi was like, remember at the end where they beat them all up, they won the fight, and then the guy pulled the knife, and then Vi went up to like in his face with the knife, and was like, see where that goes or whatever. Yeah, so she won. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So then Powder runs away, and she tries to use one of her nail bombs, which is just like it's a very oxymoronic, is what I've written. Because it's crazy, because it's like this little girl is, she's trying to kill these people with these nail bombs, which is just that was my first sign where I'm like, this is a bit weird, isn't it? Bit of a weird show. But it doesn't go off, so then she throws all the treasure into the river, and Milo is not too happy about this, and she refers to Powder as a jinx who ruins every job that they try and pull off. So isn't that crazy?
Soy.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, Jinx from League of Legends, that's wild. Yeah. Then the kids, they make it back to the Undercity, and they go to Vander, who is the Hound of the Underground and the apparent owner of a bar. Like, I feel like he's the owner. There could be a lot of details here. I'm just like incorrect because, I'm not like the biggest League of Legends or like Arcane, like lore fan or whatever. And he's also the leader of the Lanes, which is like this location, I'm assuming.
There's no shot this moron isn't a League character.
Vander.
Yeah, he's not, I don't think.
I'm fairly sure he's not, because I also said the same thing, I think, when I watched it. And my friends are like, yeah, could you believe he was...
It just sounds like such a name.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, let's just keep going. Okay, after a failed... Yeah, basically they talk about how there was a failed uprising against Piltover, which is obviously what we saw in that first bridge, and he was the leader of that uprising.
Isn't that a stupid fucking name, EliteAri?
What, Piltover? The city of progress.
Don't you just want to destroy it?
Yeah, true. I mean, it is probably painted in a negative light here, right? Like, it's our antagonist, this Piltover. Or are you more on Jace's side? Like, whose side of the conflict are you on right now, Kyle?
The bad guy with the eye. He's cool.
Silco. Okay, you gotta remember his name, right? Silco. Yeah, what a name. Okay.
That name's stupid.
In his introductory scene with Vander, he helps out a guy whose partners in his deal weren't honoring their original arrangement.
Oh, the most overacting, timid guy I've ever seen in my life. He was pissing me off. Oh.
Yep. He felt like an anime character or something, like a cartoon character from a kid's show. I loved it. Then Vander, the kids come back, and Vander's not too happy, and he like keeps Vi in the room with him, and is like, you don't understand. If you tell them to light a fire, they'll bring oil or whatever. And she basically doesn't understand.
Every time they tried to do a metaphor, EliteAri, it was the worst. Like,
wait, why?
Oh fuck! I had a great example before. Oh, I was thinking about it like before a bunch too, and now I've forgotten it. Oh, the writing is fucking terrible, EliteAri. I hated it.
What is it about metaphors that makes you cringe? You gotta dive deep here, Kyle. Why is that?
No, it was just they were bad, or the most generic ones, and the way they were said was said with such reverence. Like, I'm supposed to think for a second, like, oh, fuck me. I never thought about that. And it was just like, oh.
So, okay.
And I didn't like dialogue delivery throughout, and it's just, I don't know.
So do you think there's a mismatch between what the show is intending the quality to be of what it's saying versus what it's landing as to you, to be like, oh, I've seen this before, this isn't actually that good?
I guess it's not about the metaphors being deep or some shit. It's just like another generic, like, of course that's how the line is finishing. Like, of course that's what he just said. And that with the delivery that I don't really like, just kind of irritates me and makes me cringe a little bit.
Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Let's keep that in mind. Okay. So, Vander goes to Benzo's, another character name there. The owner of a pawn shop.
Benzo's, he was pretty cool.
True. He has a young assistant called Echo, or Little Man is what they refer to him as. Like, he's the guy who got them the intel on the job for Jace's workshop.
Yeah, but he's a kid with an annoying dub voice, so I don't like him.
True, we hate dubs here. And then two enforcers show up. We get a younger, hot-headed man called Marcus, and an older woman called Grayson, who seems to have an established, respectful relationship with Vanda. And I love them. They're great. What a relationship those two have. She and
It
when
was
I say
pretty
yeah
cool
wait
when
when
she
I
died. I didn't see that
it
coming.
was, and it was a cool. I like the way it was executed. With the nice scary music, and it like cuts out, and you don't know what's happened. You think like, oh, someone's died out there, and then you cut out, and her dead face is in front of the camera. I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
Her
Yeah.
assistant dude is the most generic guy of all time. He might be worse than Jace or whatever the fuck.
Yes, that doesn't make him bad though. Remember, generic doesn't mean bad.
It does, because I said so.
So a younger, how did admit I heard that already? She tells Vanda that if they don't put someone behind bars tonight, an army of enforcers will show up. And then Vanda's like, sorry, but I can't give up my own people. And I'm sure Kyle cringed at that point. It's like, oh.
Oh yeah, that was definitely one.
Okay. All right. Then Vi and Powder, they have a conversation at Powder's bunk bed. And Powder's like very sad because she thinks that everyone thinks she's useless, and she overheard that conversation with Milo where she's like, "Oh, you're twice the person at half her age or whatever." But then Vi is like, "You know what? I believe in you. These things will work, like the bombs you're making or whatever." And then they go outside, and Vi tells her the story of like how her favorite stuffed toy was like thrown up on a telephone line, and how she came back like at nights, and she's like, "Oh, I hope it might come down," and blah 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 blah. What do you think of that scene?
I don't remember it making me cringe too bad.
Okay.
But if we talk generally about their relationship, I don't know how much I'm into it.
Whose relationship? Vi and Powder.
Yeah. Like whenever they would cuddle or she would give her reassuring words, I was like, oh, this fucking big sister shit. I hate sibling shit, EliteAri. I hate my sibling and you should too. Or at least that's how we should be portraying things. So them getting along and them always looking after each other. Anything like this and anything makes me annoyed.
So who do you identify with
Arcane
more, Powder or Vi in their relationship?
Neither.
Okay. That's a tough question, Kyle. I'm sorry to put you on the spot. Flash to an ominous man with an evil-looking eye, and we find out that he was the one who ordered the thugs to follow Powder and friends. And then the episode ends where they test out the purple substance that and the rat kills the cat.
Ugly cat got killed, EliteAri. That wasn't fair.
Yeah.
But also, at this point, I'm like, oh my god, and he is the most generic villain I've ever seen in my fucking life. He's got a bad eye, and he's ominously introduced in a showy thing.
That is visual storytelling. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I love visual storytelling. It's my favorite. Somehow, when like at the beginning of episode 3, we're doing his monologue, and first of all, that was cool and wasn't cringe. And I was like, oh my god. And then it tied into Vanda stuff, and obviously the whole time it's obviously like we're not doing a branching ensemble story here. Of course, it's going to tie in and be a personal issue with Vanda, you fucking moron. But somehow I was shocked, and I thought it was clever. So anyway, I thought every time we cut away to him in the first 2 episodes, I was like, this fucking boring bad guy that's going to show up somehow, and can we get rid of it? And then it happened, and then I was like, oh, that was actually pretty cool. So I guess that wasn't the worst. It was here, but later it was.
It's funny how like on a rewatch of like a lot of things, you always forget about those details of like you don't really know who Silco is until episode 3. Because to me, when I see Silco at the first episode, I'm like, oh my god, it's Vanda's like quote unquote brother here. Like I know their story and everything. So yeah, it's always like that. All right. So I have actual notes on this episode, very few. One is that the bomb that Powder used was called Mauser, and I thought it was really cute. And like I like how she refers to her weapons as like she has names for them, and she treats the little monkeys like they're friends because she doesn't have many friends. And she's like, I tried to fight him off with Mauser, but she didn't work. I like how she like refers to them in like first person, like those things are like real people to her. I really like that.
I didn't like it. I thought it was generic kids shit, and I hated it.
Well, I like it because it characterizes Powder, who is obviously the best character in these first 3 episodes. It's like subtle.
Are you ever been a lonely kid and you had your stuffed animals as friends? I'm a writer and I'm a genius, and I'm gonna put that in a story like it hasn't been done to be the most generic thing 50 million times before.
See,
I
Kyle,
hate writers, I hate kids, and I hate generic stuff.
What you're missing is that you're saying it's generic, but what it really is a universal form of storytelling where everyone can relate to this, and it works so well because of just how much of a mainstream appeal it has. Okay. Anyway.
It's like when the older sister hugs the younger sister, except I hate that.
Yes. But wouldn't you say is descriptively real, and don't you tend to like those things? Like, for instance, when Powder is like, oh, should we give these blue orbs to Vanda? Should we tell him about them? And Vi's like, oh, no, we shouldn't. And then Powder kind of gets excited because it's like, oh, she's like has a little secret with her sister or whatever. Small things like that.
That was the most generic thing of all time. And I thought, how's that going to come into the plot? That's going to blow up in their face. That's going to be funny. And then it did blow up. Oh, my goodness. Anyway. Well, oh, I had a great point because I opened the door to let some cold air in because I'm dying in here, and then
Yep.
EliteAri goes back to asking me a question instead of doing the fucking recap so I can cool off.
Sorry.
And then I was like, oh no, I gotta close it because this is a great point I've got to make, and I've forgotten the point. So what were we talking about? Jinx
Subtle
and hugging
character,
and characters and
universality.
oh,
Mauser, the little bomb she had.
oh, EliteAri, shut up! Remembered it.
Sure.
The I love descriptive things that are real retarded and zoomed in. Like they have to be hyper specific. So I
Hmm.
know that fucking stuffed animals don't like me, and I was writing this in my Berserk script today, EliteAri, so it all tied in, and I just came full circle.
Hmm. I think there's a lot of descriptively real things about powder. But we'll see. I don't know if I have any in my notes, but if any come up, I'll think about them. Like very subtle things.
I will say, if I'm honest, I feel like there's nothing descriptively real about a single character in this, and nothing about them is unique or interesting to me in any way. I feel
Hmm.
like that's probably the biggest problem with it, and it's. I will talk about that more in episode 3 when we do talk about Silco or whatever his lame name is, the cool eye dude,
Yes. Okay.
because he almost got there, and then we were just like, oh, he's just a bad guy. So that's.
Hmm. Okay. Interesting. All right. I have another note, which is something that bothered me the first time I watched it, but I liked it the second time. So I wonder what you will say about this, which is when they first enter the Undercity through the elevator thing, and the loud music is like playing with the lyrics, and it's like they put an insert song or something. What do you think about that? Did
I
you
know that's
notice
okay.
that? All right, it was okay, interesting. The
I
first
vaguely
time I was
remember it
like,
now that you
oh
bring it up.
god, like why are they playing this weird intro for this like locate this weird
That is a
location?
thing.
Like,
That is a trope where, like, oh, we're introducing a cool new place. We've just gone underground. Let's have a cool song as we get like monologues of us walking around the shops, and we see the prostitute shot, and
mhm.
yeah.
But I liked it the second time. So anyway,
But we got a big budget, and we got Billie Eilish and Imagine Dragons, and probably a famous person to sing that song that I forgot.
yes,
So we're gonna play it, and it's gonna be cool.
and
We're gonna be a
more.
cultural
Yes,
touchstone of 2021, and EliteAri is gonna fall for it and think it's actually good when it's just some flop that Netflix shit out by a corporation, and I hate corporations.
so two
Real
things.
art is made by two people in a room, and it's about
So true. It's about subtle,
cameras.
descriptively real things. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Two things we'll probably forget. One, Arcane, along with a big budget, which I assume it had a very long time to be produced. Like I think it took like 6 years or something. Like, it was a very long.
Unlike shitty anime, right?
Yeah. In
And
fact,
it treats its
so,
animators well.
yeah, I'm sure
Unlike
they got
Studio
paid a
Mappa.
lot. Yeah. Second thing is, I just wonder how many people listening to this know my thoughts on Arcane and are like just finding it funny when you say things. I don't know. I feel like there's not many, but I don't know. Maybe there's a few.
No, you just got to giggle to yourself, Alita, right?
Yeah. All right. Other thing, I guess this also relates to the big corporation making this show or whatever. Obviously a big theme of this show is like class differences, right? You got the upper city and you have the undercity, and they're like living very different
These
lives. And
hypocrites. Disney making movies about how conglomerates are bad. I can't believe
yes. What do you think of the theme? Did it bother you, or were you like it's okay, or were you like that was
I
great?
mean,
love
I've
these
seen this
themes.
a trillion times.
Of
Is all I
course.
was
Yeah.
thinking. I wasn't thinking if it was good or something. I don't know.
Okay. Interesting.
I guess it's to be determined. That's kind of the big thing at the end. Which side are we going
Yeah,
on?
like where it
Is
settles. Yeah.
Vanda's compromising approach, or are we going to kill the rich with the one-eyed dude?
Okay.
Mm.
One thing on the differences in class or whatever is I have a note on the microcosm of class differences within the story, which is that it's like this one conversation they have where Powder is talking about how she's the younger kid, and then you've got the older kids that are around her or whatever, and she says, you don't get it, you're older, you're bigger, it isn't fair. And then the glasses kid is basically like, so stick with us, take a punch or two. And I'm like, huh, it kind of is. I guess that kind of is a microcosm of somewhat of, not really what's going on, but it's, I don't know. It's a
Which
little
glasses kid?
microcosm. Milo, the guy with the sorry, not a glasses kid.
Lamador or whatever his name is.
Clagger, yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe it's a little microcosm there, but we'll see.
Maybe you'll make a whole thematic video about how it's about small people.
Yeah, like Heimerdinger, true. So
He's not a person. Not while I'm around.
Jesus, does he not count? Does he not have personhood? Would you abort him, Kyle? Is that what you're saying? Oh my god, that's
I'd
crazy.
kill him. I don't know about abort.
All right, beyond the biggest theme, which is obviously class divide, I would say in these like first episodes. The second biggest theme seems to be like generational stuff.
It's feminism. These fucking girls are fighting. I'm sick of it, Alita.
Oh, maybe it is
Wokeism has
feminism.
gone too far.
Interesting.
First,
I
Abby
guess
from
this
The
is a
Last of Us, now this
question.
girl.
I could
Fuck
ask
me.
this at this point. Who do you think is the main character of The Last of Us 2?
What a question, EliteAri. I think technically, if you do the mathematications, Ellie you play as.
What do you think?
And I guess
that make
it's
you the main
Ellie,
character?
like 60 to 40 to 35 to 5, and Joel is 5.
Okay. All right, then who do you think is the main character in Arcane so far?
Now, I guess V is probably, by my mathematications and my reasoning, on screen the most time, so we're supposed to say V EliteAri. I agree with you. But I'm pretty sure it's Jinx because I hear that name more and I've seen the blue-haired girl more.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, cool. So then,
maybe they're Deuteragonist EliteAri. You ever heard that?
No, that's never a
to make the
real
point
thing. Come on.
in a Black Lagoon video about that, but that point was fucking stupid.
There's no such thing as a dual main character. There's only ever one.
Revi's not the main character, EliteAri, even if you like her more. You should have told me in 2018
just like Vander.
that.
I wonder, there probably were a lot of people watching this who were just like, yeah, Vander's obviously the main character here. Like he'll, you know, we'll follow him. He's the one with all the action, blah, 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 but probably not. All right, recap for episode 2. Oh, wait, we said the title for the other one. This episode 2 is called Some Mysteries Are Better Left Unsolved. And I assume that's talking about the magic, I would say.
Never heard that one before.
Yeah, like the Jace stuff. I don't know. This episode's
Remember
great.
That Ninja Turtles 2003 episode where they make fun of that, where it's like a crazy horror dude saying, and some myths are left untampered with or something, and then eventually they meet that dude underground and he's transformed into a monster and it's like crazy, and Ninja Turtles is really cool. Ninja Turtles isn't generic, it's sick. Better than Arcane.
So true, yes. Okay, let's just begin the recap for episode 2 that you hated so much.
I thought we were done with episode 2. Oh
no, that was just episode 1. Okay, episode 2. The episode opens with Jace and Caitlyn's perspective of the workshop being broken into and exploded. And
now, Caitlyn EliteAri, I'm pretty sure that's a League of Legends bitch, or that's just another generic name. You know, every time I've said that, it's been a Pokemon name. There's Caitlyn is an Elite Four member in Black and White, and Vander is in Pokemon Coliseum. He's the area leader of the first area of Mount Battle. Now, that's a very small role. I don't know why I remembered that. At least I think that's him. Yeah. But Caitlyn, that's definitely a League thing.
Okay. I'm glad you're confident. The episode opens...
I know they said that. So
wait, who said that?
Ooh. Somebody said her name towards the beginning of that episode, and I was like,
oh, the character name. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant you've seen like a video essay about Caitlyn or something. That'd be crazy. The episode opens with Jace and Caitlyn. Oh, we read that already. Why are you making me read it again, Kyle? Jesus. Oh yeah, basically Jace gets knocked out and we get an explosion that knocks him into his backstory. And we see him and his mum walking through this snowy, I have no idea what it's, snowy place, I guess. Snowy place. And a mysterious stranger.
It's a blizzard.
Yeah, it's a blizzard, yes. And the mum is losing her fingers, they go black. And the mysterious stranger shows up and he saves them using magic. And I'm like, whoa, what do you think of that scene, Kyle, when he showed up?
That's definitely a League guy I'm supposed to be soying out about, but
That's
I don't know
what I
who
thought.
he is.
I don't know if it is as well, but I remember seeing it and be like, obviously there's like someone, right? It's meant to be like a big deal.
I know, it's pretty cool. I thought he teleported them at first, and I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty. But no,
Wait,
he changed the whole environment, and I was like, oh, that's much cooler.
Oh my god, Kyle! I think I also thought he teleported them. No, I don't know. I feel like all of the Okay, let me say.
There was still some snow underneath her because he melted.
Well, they had some snow on them, so they probably fell off them or whatever.
Nah, that was too much snow.
I don't know. You've also kind of convinced me. However, the important thing to note here is that this scene is a 2001: A Space Odyssey reference, which I watched recently. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe this is
I know everything about pop culture.
It's just wild because I haven't watched it until like 2 weeks ago, and here we are, an actual thing that referenced it. Because at the end of, I'm going to spoil 2001: A Space. It's not really a spoiler, but there's this like they travel in space using this space corridor thing, and it's like all abstract and strange, and there's like visuals of an eye, and there's this like really bright corridor they go through, and that is like directly in this episode. So I guess to me that would lead it to be more of a teleportation thing, because that's kind of what happens in 2001: A Space Odyssey. But yeah.
And then the dude's old at the end or something.
Yeah, but I don't think that really relates here, but something like that. Kind of. He's also very young.
I know.
All right. So that's that. Next up, Jace meets Victor. Oh, sorry. Let me say, I don't know, not also because you didn't agree, but I thought that guy was cool when he was teleporting. I was like, oh my god, look at this, cool visuals. All right.
The visuals were cool.
Thank you. I'm glad I convinced you. Jace meets Victor, the assistant of the dean of the academy, who is Heimerdinger. And Heimerdinger is a 300-year-old. I wrote non-human because I have no idea what he is, and he's a member of Piltover's council. So. Cool.
Now hold on. He later has a monologue where he's mad about a painting and some magic dude tried to blow up. And it looks
God,
like
was that the coolest thing ever?
Shit.
God.
The painting looks cool, but that looks so like cool. More than 300 years ago. So I don't know what the fuck this lion little midget fucking creature is talking about. And now also,
do you remember 300 years ago in our world?
Yeah, Black Sails hadn't even happened yet. It wasn't that old.
That doesn't even make sense. Okay. All
It
right,
looked
sure.
like biblical times. That's like 20,000 years ago. No, it's like
It was
what
an
is it?
era with magic, Kyle. The
2024.
world has changed since magic has
Ah,
disappeared.
yeah. Except they don't use magic; they use science, but that's different. And then they've got magic now or something. Now there was another
No,
point I was going to make,
hextech.
Eliteari. What were we talking about right before that?
Heimerdinger, Jace. They're going through the snow. There's the guy with the.
Oh, Academy.
Yep.
Oh, was I soy cringing every time they would say Academy, and they would do that whenever they
Why?
say the Underground or something. I'm just like, oh, I hate generic elements of things. I want to kill myself, right? When
Right,
people are
right.
like talking about slang like the Academy, like yeah, we talk about this all the time, but it comes off like they're just saying it for the script, and the Underground and Topside, and kill me, Illyria.
So you hate like jargon related to certain groups of people, like even in the real world?
Yeah, I hate jargon. I hate the dialogue.
So what do you think about Australian slang when someone refers to "I'm going to the server" or
No,
something
that's
like that?
sick, leader.
Why is that
I
sick
love
and
that.
not in a TV show?
Well, the TV show, because it's just like, there's a genericism element to it. There's I've heard this a million times element to it. There's a this is a bad dub element to it. And there's a I'm just not feeling this right now, so I want to be pissed off about something to it. So combine those four things together, and you got whatever's making me mad.
All right. I hope someone understood that. Okay, I agree though. I don't agree. I definitely don't agree because I also find it cringe in stuff like this, even though I liked it in this. I also find it cringe in real life when people use terminology like that. I generally don't like the use of nicknames and stuff either, which is why I try and use real names. I don't know.
Said the Academy in real life. I don't know. I've never been near an academy before, but maybe I would want to.
Well, okay. I have an example, which is I don't. Oh, actually, no, I can't say it. So it docks me pretty badly. So let's say I went to a school or whatever,
Sorry.
and there was there was like this after school place, right? An after school like place where they look after you because your parents are like busy or whatever. And it has like a name, like a proper name or whatever, but everyone called it a certain nickname. It had a nickname for the place, and they would always say that nickname. And I was like, God, just say the name of the place. Like, why are you coming up with this like cool this nickname because it sounds cool or whatever, you know? And it kind of feels like that in a show where they're like saying, oh, the Academy, you know, instead of saying like, there's nothing else they could really replace that with. But it is kind of cringe to say the thing that sounds cool, or at least to write it in a story, and then it like parallels with real life when like people are trying to use these like cool made up names for like things. So I don't know. That's kind of how I relate to this. But yeah. Any issues with that, or should we move on?
I think we both said our piece.
Excellent. The Undercity Kids, which is what I'm calling that little gang of like good people, not the gang of bad people, the thugs that were earlier on. They are hanging out in the training / arcade place. I couldn't tell what it was. I assume it's like a training place, like a boxing gym or something. And then the enforcers show up.
But that probably makes more sense.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, she was punching a punching bag, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's probably in a gym or so. But then again, you have punching bags in like arcades sometimes. So I don't know.
Yeah, the arcade thing. I'm gonna punch it and get the high score leader. So
That's
strong.
true. Yeah. Then the enforcers show up and they throw a guy through the window, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. What a cool shot. And then they run away because you know Powder's hiding those little orbs. Then the next scene, we meet Mel Medada, who's a member of Piltover's council and the richest person in Piltover.
The council was another one, Eliteari, where they were like the council. I'm like, gosh.
I have no issues with the council. They say that in Game of Thrones, Kyle. Do you ever have issues with that as well?
No, they probably say the small council, so it's cool.
Because it says small in front of it. True, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Is this the pretty one, Eliteari?
Depends.
Probably.
There's two council members who might fall into that. I don't know. I assume you're talking. Who are you thinking of?
The one that lets them off later.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's Mel. You're right. Good job, Kyle. Yeah, member of Piltover's council, richest person in Piltover. However, she's the poorest in her family. She's the poorest of the Medadas or whatever. So
that's unfortunate.
And because of that, you know, she wants to put Piltover on the map. That's like her aim and why she ends up like going and siding with Jace. Not siding, but like kind of, I guess siding with Jace. And trying to get his magic out there. It's like we can do great things with Piltover and get us on the map. All right. Next scene.
Oh my god! The thing Knives Out was making fun of with the most Glass Onion, the good one.
Right.
Was making fun of with the Mona Lisa. That's what I was thinking of while watching. I recalled that just now.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I know the Mona Lisa.
Remember it when the dude in Glass Onion is like, I just want to be remembered for something in the same vein as the Mona Lisa.
Oh, is that what you're thinking of? Okay.
And this girl is like, I just want to do something that'll be remembered or some shit. She says something like that.
And they're making fun of it in Glass Onion. I see what you're saying. Okay, interesting. All right.
Yeah, Glass
Next
Onion's
scene.
so advanced, it's making fun of tropes that came out only a year beforehand because Arcane's apparently original, you know?
True, it is, yeah. Next, we meet Caitlyn's family, the Kiramans. And the mother is a member of the council as well. Isn't that crazy? And they're funding Jace's studies at the academy.
Have you ever seen a scene, EliteAri, like the dude outside the rich place, but he's at like the gate and they won't let him in. That's crazy. I can't wait for that scene.
Yeah, that was cool, wasn't it? Yeah, I also agree. That was a really good scene. Thanks, Kyle. So then they're starting to get. Oh yeah, we go back to the Undercity after we meet Caitlyn's family. Oh, I love the introductory scene of Caitlyn's family. Do you know what I'm talking about? The visual stuff they're doing on
The
screen.
father's
remember?
like sitting there and he's
No,
like, I don't want to.
no. It's so cool how they're like, when the individuals are talking, like doing the voiceover, you flash to the portrait of them. And it's like you're showing like the different people talking as you're showing the portraits of the characters instead of them actually talking. That was really cool.
I don't think I noticed this one.
You should rewatch it. It's awesome. That's like a cool directing choice, which, you know, sometimes Arcane nails. People are starting to get frustrated at Vander for not doing anything against the enforcers, and the tough-looking woman, she confronts him and says he looks weak. I'm like, no, he's not weak. He's Vander, you know? Oh my god.
That's great. You don't look. No, what did she say? Something
like,
beforehand?
do I look? God, I don't even know. He said something. He's like,
no, you look weak. And
yeah,
then
exactly.
she storms out, and I'm like, soy.
Yep.
I love this scene, soy.
Yep. It was awesome. All right. We then see Jace's trial. So we see the council for the first time, and we find out they're like kind of afraid of magic. Oh, and they have this cool like voting thing where like they put their hands up, the light shines on them, and it like makes a clicking noise of a clock. It was awesome. It's like unnecessary technology or whatever, like in this city. It was awesome. All right.
There's that one dude who's not a dude. He's just like a robot
The
face
robot-
dude. We're going to kill him one day. It's going to be sick. He's going to have some sort of tragic backstory, and we're all going to feel real bad for him.
Yep. I just love it's kind of a Star Wars thing. It is a Star Wars thing as well, but when
It
he,
reminded
like,
me of something.
before he like talks, he has to adjust his voice to actually like produce anything. Otherwise, it just sounds like a robot kind of. And that's like directly from a Star Wars character.
Star Wars,
yeah, it was awesome. I love it. The robot council. Oh yeah, the robotic council member. That's what I called him. Talks about how magic almost led to the extinction of his race. And then Heimerdinger has the greatest scene in not all three, but these first two episodes, where he talks about how I'm the only one who has experienced the dangers firsthand. And then he flashes to this like really cool painting with like really cool music going on, and it's like, oh my god, there's like a different era. Isn't this crazy? And you said you liked it as well, so I'm gonna assume you liked it. So
yeah, but it's more than 300 years ago, so he hasn't seen it, liar.
True, it's law breaking. Not much can happen.
It's 300 dog years because he's a mutt, EliteAri.
True.
Why didn't you say so?
What do you think the world will be like 300 years from now, Kyle?
Dead because your evil AI you're making, EliteAri, killed us all.
Perhaps. Or perhaps it will save us all from magic that gets invented or something. The council agrees to not banish Jace, but they choose to expel him from the academy. And then, actually, what did you think of that decision? Any strong thoughts on this?
His mommy showed up and I was like, soy, I love this scene.
Really? Did you like it?
No.
Okay. I thought it was cool. And I liked how she didn't have two fingers because they obviously broke when she was
one of the other I think it might be the pretty girl. She had things on her fingers too, but I think that was just for decorations. And it reminded me of those things you could make out of paper that the girls would make in like primary school and then collect their fingers on like the desk. That was pretty
terrifying. Cool. I like did you like the gag with she chose a toy for the guy and he was so happy about it? It's like, oh my god, thank you, Mel. And then the other guy tries to give her a toy and
hilarious. And the other guy tries to give him nuts, but he's allergic. I've not seen that joke before.
Kyle, I actually, let me clarify for the audience.
You lol.
When I am saying things, I am not being ironic, right, guys? I actually thought that was very funny, and I laughed a lot. Don't let Kyle's sarcasm map onto me, all right? Whenever he's being sarcastic, I am being genuine, so I actually liked it.
What's Mappa got to do with it?
Absolutely nothing. I love Mappa. Mappa's great. Jace is angry that even his mum won't support him in his pursuit of magic, and then he leaves. And then it rains outside when she's sad.
Do you think he's going to prove them all wrong? This random character that's
Maybe.
The whole point of episode 2 that I hate? Oh, he's great, isn't he?
Wait, you think he's going to prove them wrong? You think he's going to create magic? That'd be crazy, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
Okay. Later on, I guess I've like stitched together his scenes because it's like throughout this entire thing. Later on, he walks to the edge of his workshop and he almost kills himself. Or maybe he's just like really, I don't know, but it seemed like that.
That was actually a cool moment where he awkwardly got interrupted from killing himself. Now, I'm almost certain I've seen that in something before, but I was like, that would be embarrassing, and you would have to play it off.
Yeah, he did. The way he played it off.
That was pretty cool.
He's just like, oh, you can't just like come in here or whatever. And I'm like, oh my god. Yep. And then he basically Victor shows up and stops him. And then we find out that Victor came from the Undercity. So there is a path from the Undercity to, this Overcity here. Crazy.
Yeah, he just had to pull up his bootstraps and work hard.
Absolutely, yeah.
We hate conservatism here, EliteAri. Arcane is immoral.
Yeah, the first act at least, yeah. And then he tells Jace that he believes in his work. And then the two are like friends now, or like they're working
Doesn't
together.
his accent kind of piss you off, EliteAri? Come on.
Not even honest. A little bit. I like Victor's voice. It was great.
What is it? Is it German? I don't like
I think
German.
it's like, I was gonna make a joke of it. It's like Undercity or something, but I have no idea. Meanwhile, Silco is hatching plans and meeting with the enforcer Marcus and using the purple vial thing on the lead thug guy. The plans are hatching, and at this point, Kyle still had no idea that he was like related to Vander. It was, oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like this soy generic bad guy. Get him out of here.
Yep. Then the enforcers show back up to search the bar
Oh,
for
and
the
he's
kids.
with the other most soy generic bad guy, the fucking boring enforcer dude. Oh, I was not liking it.
Oh yeah, when they had their meeting. Yeah, true. I thought you were talking about when the two enforcers go to the bar and then they like put the pipe in Vander's drink and Vander like gets angry for a second and then they turn around and like the whole bar is angry and then the one enforcer guy who like looks like a robot or something, he like does the scary enforcer noise and they all like back down. I was like, oh my god, that was great. The enforcers.
Yeah, you ever seen like a something where the whole bar is on the bartender's side and you don't fuck with the bar? Whoa, that's crazy.
It's true. Then Vander speaks to Vi on the bridge, and they talk about how waging war against Piltover will result in the deaths of all her friends, including Powder. Like, who are you willing to lose, you know? Nobody wins in war, is what he says. So, yeah.
That's another fucking little saying they had. Oh, yeah, that's pretty. No one wins in war. Whoa. That was crazy.
I thought it was awesome. I think it's great. I like, again, I said this at the beginning, and Kyle has just, he's just doubled down every time. But something can be generic, and it can still be executed amazingly, and I really enjoy it. So every time Kyle says something as he's seen it before, I say it's
because
great.
the dialogue. So how about that one, Ali?
That's okay.
I'm flipping you off right now.
I guess we can agree. We can agree to disagree. Then we get the final scene.
If you'd EliteAri, I'm going to say
ahead.
that I liked this scene, and I actually thought it was okay as a narrative beat, because then Vi or whatever, Vi, she was actually convinced, and I was like, well, at least we don't have to go through this whole fucking gimmick. But then we kind of had to anyway, and it was undermined, but it was an okay scene.
Mm-hmm. If you want to remember her name, her full name is Violet. So there you go. So never say V again.
I say that later. I remember. All right.
Yeah. Then we get the final scene where another like famous song is playing. Where I know it. I'm like, oh my god, I recognize this song. And you have Vander.
I don't remember.
Vander's at the bar with Powder, who's like really depressed, and we don't really know why at that point because we're like, oh, what's going on here? Why is she sad? And then we find out that Vi is like waiting in Benzo's shop, and obviously Powder knows that Vi's not coming back because she gave her a little stuffed animal from the telephone line. Did you pick that up at least?
Okay,
I didn't the first time.
Hold on a second.
All right.
So this was the first little tiny bit of intrigue I actually had to the show, because she's sitting in some place and somebody's walking up to the door, and I was like, what the fuck? Who's going to show up at the door? Like, this show has set up characters that I'm supposed to be surprised are going to show up. Turned out it was just Vander in the next episode, but whatever. Mm-hmm. They brisked past that fast, and episode 3 was already better, so I wasn't too disappointed.
Yep.
But I didn't realize she was in that shop. What was she waiting in that shop for?
So I was having some water. The enforcers to show up, because remember she put it. She's the one who sent up the that's what do you call it? The pneumatic tube thing to the enforcers.
Oh, she sent it up.
Because she's like, if I sacrifice myself, based on all the conversations she's had with Powder
That's
and
why
Vander.
She was surprised when he showed up. I get it. She was going to sacrifice herself. Okay, I didn't understand that at the time. Yeah. Now, the toy thing, I was like, at some point I noticed that Jinx had a toy, and I was like, oh, does she have one that's similar to the other one?
I'm sorry.
Shut up.
Keep going.
And there was the and then obviously she got the thingy down because she's big now, so she could get it. And that's probably a representative of something, and because she couldn't get it when she was a kid, but she had it now, and then she passed it on. You know.
Yeah, it's about growing up. Yeah, taking the responsibility. Like Vander told her to.
You know what I love in a story I'm not invested in? Themes. I love them.
True. But you are invested in this, Kyle, so it's perfect time.
Well, not yet. Only in episode 3.
All right. So then basically that's the ending of episode 2. All right, now I have some notes for episode 2. So, scene in the snow looked really cool. I think Arcane
he wasn't
also
even finished with episode 3. Crazy.
Not at all. Episode 2, by the way, not 3. So the visuals of Arcane, on masterclass, they look really good. They're better than Across the Spider-Verse, which is in a time movie. But the sound effects, I think, also what sell the show. They're very good. And the one that stands out to me is the sound effect of the monkey in the next episode, like the little clapping monkey. It's really cool.
That thing they stole from Toy Story 3? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no, I think it's Toy Story 3 stole it from this. So reference 2001 Space Odyssey, we talked about that. Lamau, I just realized that the show is called Arcane, which means magic. Isn't that crazy? Did you pick that up?
I did soy a little bit when they said that.
I appreciate, Kyle, how sparingly they use the word. Like, they say magic. They don't have to. Every time they say it, they could say, the arcane, or it could be like an academy situation where they're using the cool word instead of magic. But no, they say magic every time. They just say arcane once in this, first 2 episodes. So that was great.
It's time to attack on the Titan.
Yeah,
That was
God.
really berserk. They
You
truly
do say
were
that,
some
but
mad men.
but the best moment in Attack on Titan is, when they say the Shingeki no Kyojin. Like, oh my God, that's crazy. It's
Yeah,
the whole
I'm
rephrase
sorting
and
it out
everything.
right now. Aaron's doing
Yeah,
a pose and everything.
it was so awesome.
I can't
Anyway,
believe that they say berserk at the end of chapter 1, and I'd completely forgotten until I read it like the third time. I thought it was a gag.
yes,
Puck says
same.
it
Yeah,
right at
yeah.
the end.
All right, Powder is at the point. Oh no, we already said this. Okay. The insert shot of the counselor playing with the toy he got as a present. Oh yeah, it was really cool. Where basically when everyone is getting, it's like before Jace says the outburst about, oh, I'm working on magic or whatever. It's like before that, and all the council members are like coming up with reasons, and they're all like, what do you even call that type of scene where it's like a bunch of people like talking over each other and it's cutting between different characters? You know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah,
I don't
I
know what it's called.
remember
It's like a montage, but not really because no time is passing. But one of those scenes happen,
You
and one
should
of
make
the
your equivalent of the miscellaneous insert shot, but
oh,
call it whatever this thing's called.
I'm sure there's an actual name for it though. But yeah, I love the insert shot. Crazy, but that we get within that montage of the guy playing with the toy. I thought it was really anyway. The painting. We talked about how amazing the painting is. How it's the greatest visual in all these first 3 episodes, except for what happens in episode 3, of course. We're treading. Oh, I can't say this yet. Can I? Let me just read this. All right, no, let's skip that note.
Raised.
Yeah, Vanda is in a tough spot. Everyone is starting to see him as weak. Isn't that just terrible? Like, what would you do in Vanda's position, Kyle? It's tough, isn't it?
You know, these kids are annoying anyway. Hand them over.
Would you hand over the worst kid, the one you don't like the least? Because they only need one person, so or would you hand them
It was
over?
Vi's fault. She's got to go. She wanted to anyway.
Interesting. You're a very harsh father figure. Powder's fascination with
like her.
nail bombs is creepy and oxymoronic. I already said that. All right, episode 3, the base violence necessary for change. It's a cool title, but I'm sure Kyle cringed at it because he hates cool things like that. All right,
Yeah,
recap.
but to whole structure, I'm gonna say that I didn't think at any point that Jinx's little nail bombs were creepy. But I guess you were right because in the end we're supposed to think they're creepy when she kills a bunch of people later. So you're pretty smart, EliteAri.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. No, I just think it's like creepy of having a little kid like be so excited about nail bombs. How did you not think that was creepy at all? Not creepy, but like jarring, I guess, is the word for it. Were you just like, oh yeah, I guess kids make nail bombs?
Some people. They live in a violent world, and even then, when you're a little kid, aren't you shooting things, EliteAri? That's pretty weird.
I would never explode a nail bomb in front of someone. That's terrible. Anyway.
You're just a bitch, EliteAri.
So episode 3, opening narration with Silco about what it feels like to drown. As we see
my god,
EliteAri,
I was listening and I was like, man, I'm waiting for this to be soy or cringe or for a syllable to be out of place or for a pronunciation to be bad, and it just didn't happen. And then I was like, maybe episode 3 is going to be good. This could be crazy. Another thing. What do you think writers are thinking about when they're writing scenes about like near-death experiences or something, and they're completely bullshitting? I've thought about that a million times, and I've never thought I don't think I've ever even brought it up on a stream before.
Yeah.
But I thought about it while watching the scene. I'm like, what does this motherfucker that's writing this scene know about losing an eye in a fight where you're drowning? And because they say it with such conviction too, they're like, it changes you. It's like, oh, I buy it, I guess. But like, this writer's just bullshitting his way through it. And think about that in all of literature. I guess a bunch of these idiots writing stories in like the 50s were in like World War II or something like that. Well, I think Tolkien was in episode World War I or some shit. So maybe they actually knew something and they were talking some real shit about how
I doubt it.
Killing people changes you. But these Netflix writers, they don't know nothing. So I guess you just copy other stories and they seem like
or you just look it up and be like, oh, what is a near-death experience like? Like, what do people report?
No, because then you can never just by looking it up portray the descriptive realism of it in a believable way.
That's obviously not true. Come on, Kyle. What are you talking about?
What, I'm gonna look up what does it feel like to kiss, and then I'm gonna have a great kissing scene? No.
Yeah, you definitely would. Do you don't? I know you don't believe that, Kyle. There's no way. You can definitely.
I'm not writing any scenes about people in snow, EliteAri. I don't know shit about it.
But you could definitely look up what it means to be in snow, and like what it feels like.
EliteAri
elements you could get the entire element because you don't.
Interesting.
Okay. Let me think. Have you ever seen a shark, Kyle, in real life?
Yeah, probably at like a little thingy.
Really? So do you think that little experience you had with a shark changed your whole perspective, and now you can like write what it feels like to like be in front of a shark or something?
I could write what it's like to go through a little tunnel thingy as a little kid and look at the
All right,
sharks.
so,
and
so
swim over the
even
tunnel.
you know how absurd you're being right now, Kyle, all right? There's a lot of experiences you haven't had in your life that you know that you could easily describe what it feels like. All right. Opening
No!
narration. you come on, Kyle. Let's not be crazy.
Describe what
here.
let me describe. Oh, well, it's really cold when it's. That's not what I'm talking
Is that
about.
what you would write?
I'm talking about portraying the struggle of being cold in the snow.
So you don't think you could identify a struggle that you've had previously and try and align it with a description of snow that you've like read about? You don't think that your experiences in life, you don't think like your experiences build on what you've like experienced previously, and it all comes together.
Real.
But why?
Because it just wouldn't come across that way. You could just tell.
So you think author intent matters? Like you think that a person has to have experienced something for the story to be valid?
Descriptive realism, coming from a descriptively real place, has to be identified by two parties, one of which creates it and one of which consumes it.
And you think the creation of it has to be intentional?
I don't know.
Oh, you definitely don't, Kyle. There's no way you believe that, because that would undermine everything you think about media. That's just crazy, Kyle. All right, let's keep going.
Oh, well, I'm fully willing to do that to win this argument.
All right, fine, whatever.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Yeah, I guess you're probably right. Okay.
Opening. How did we get here? Oh yeah, these fucking writers don't know what it's like to be changed by.
I do agree with you. It is funny.
You're drowning and getting stabbed. I just think it's funny.
It is.
The show's fine. I believe this evil dude is changed or whatever, but it's.
Yes. But you know the great thing.
I do definitely feel like I was 14 at some point, and I was like, I can't write a story. How am I going to write a kissing scene if I've never kissed somebody before? And that's definitely something I was massively insecure about. And so, how is this prick over here writing about getting stabbed and drowning when he ain't done nothing?
It's very true.
I did nearly drown one time, so I could write about this, but I didn't relate to his drowning thing.
Oh my god, you nearly drowned?
Cool.
It's scary.
Yeah, one time, I thought I was drowning. I was like 8, and this little kid, he was like 2 years younger than me, and he wanted to piggyback over the pool. But then we were in the deep end, and this fucking stupid kid, we're sinking, and he just won't get off. And I can't get him off, so I'm dying. And I remember accepting that I was going to die.
Oh my god.
And then he got off, and then I went back up. And then I took a big shit later that day. And my mum showed up to pick me up, and I was still in the toilet shitting, and I was horrified because then everybody had realized that I was shitting, because if I could sneak away before anybody noticed and come back, then they wouldn't have known I had to shit.
That's terrible.
I was like 8.
Is this the worst day of your life?
That was a traumatizing day.
Jesus.
It's in the top 5, I'm assuming.
Oh my god. It's
fun.
It's like your episode 3, Kyle. Oh my god.
Yeah, it was like my dad's friend. He's like rich. He lives on like a hillside or something. Crazy.
We love rich people with hillside houses. Isn't that the best?
Man, pools and stuff. That was pretty.
Yep. Okay. Silco's drowning. I just want to point out the really cool. Who knows if you remember this, Kyle? But when he's drowning, it's nice and peaceful, you know. And then it cuts to like him like wanting to survive or whatever, and it's like this like really manic, like loud noise of him like freaking out when he's being actually drowned by Vander. That was a really cool.
When you're in that position, you just have this moment where you want to die and the water's calming, but then you want to fight back later. How the fuck does this writer know that, huh?
They're a genius. They're a genius. Maybe they drowned themselves to like test it out. How do you?
Later, he thinks it was a he, showing his
it is a he.
unalignment with the feminist. Oh,
I'm kidding.
Maybe it's got a writer's room. You fucking idiot. How about that one?
Yeah, they're almost certainly
quota, at least one woman in every writer's room.
That's probably very true. Yeah. I mean, let's be real here, Kyle.
Before the SAG-AFTRA strikes, Larry. So maybe they probably got an AI to do it, huh?
What is the percentage of people that are women that play League of Legends? What do you think that is? It's probably pretty low, right? So I imagine.
I think it's probably more than most multiplayer games, right?
I don't know about that. Maybe
I'm being I'm being blinded by streamer girls, EliteAri. I think that's what's happening.
No, I feel like it's less. It has to be less because it's a team-based game where you're playing with random people online, and if you're a woman in that space, you would be
yeah,
exactly.
EliteAri. Yes,
right,
we found a feminist way to get out of this.
All right.
Percentage of female League.
Oh my god.
Players. That's not even the right keywords, I don't think. Riot Games reported that 30% of the League of Legends player base are women.
It could be in Asia, maybe. It could be a different culture there compared to here. Because I know it's big
adding
in
that 97% of women main female champions. That's like Vi and Jinx.
That's crazy. All right, I can believe it. That's why I guess
now, EliteAri, make a funny joke about how they all play support.
They all play support, Kyle. All right.
Very funny.
Vander shows up and traps Vi in the basement right before the enforcers show up. And then he like.
Wait, are we already done with the beginning scene?
Well, what else do you want to say about it? I thought it was really cool. I mean, okay, there is one thing to say about it, which I was going to mention later, but it is the bookend of the episode. Like, it starts with that thing, and then it ends with that thing, and it's basically the climax of the entire like relationship between Vander and Silco at this point, right?
Yeah, I was soying out. I was like, "Oh my god, he's actually connected. Obviously, you fucking idiot." And then
Yeah.
it was like a tonal thing. It was like a cool tone thing. Plus, I already had the intrigue of who was going through the door. So I was like, "Oh, maybe this episode is good."
Yeah, this episode is very good. I think it's very good in terms
Yeah,
of
it's
visual
okay.
storytelling
The
as
middle part's
well.
kind of boring.
Like, even if you consider the fact that both the episode opens and closes with someone like falling into darkness, right? Like physical, like visual darkness, where you got like Silco drowning into the ocean, you got Powder's like memory like fading away into the darkness of her mind or whatever. I think there's a lot of visual things like that in this episode that make it very good. Like, I think more so that, well, infinitely more so than the other two episodes. There's a lot to analyze, I think, in this episode. Not that I have any notes on the analysis here, but I think there is a lot more actual depth to it than what felt like for the other two.
Did any of it happen between minute 3 and minute 37? Because I don't
With
believe you
Chase?
if you say it. Oh yeah, did they figure out the magic in this episode? Well, I hated that, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
sucks anyway.
There's definitely stuff there with that. I'm gonna save a lot of stuff for my video I'm gonna talk about, but
Oh,
there is a
also,
lot in there.
EliteAri, I knew something like exploded or something. I remembered from a YouTube video that the twist at the end of episode 3, and I can't remember if it was your video or watched like one other video about it. So I was going in expecting something. Plus, I think Miller had already said, yeah, those first 2 episodes suck. They're terrible, but episode 3 is good because this series was released in threes, and therefore every 3rd episode is good. So I believe Miller.
Right. No. Well, it
See,
wasn't my video. I don't mention.
2020, Kyle Entertainment is back. So me and Miller get on now. We just hate everything, and we hate you. So
I'm glad.
and One Piece.
All right. So, sorry, I'm just burping here. Vander.
How dare you?
Traps always said that. Oh, yeah, no, I guess we're done with the first scene. Anything else you want to say about it? It looked cool besides that.
Nope.
All right. Vander shows up and traps Vi in the basement right before the enforcers show up, and then he gives himself up. But then a monster shows up and kills Grayson, which we talked about before. And then Silco shows up, and then Benzo dies. Isn't that so sad? Can't remember Benzo? You said you liked him before. That was one of your
And they had a
favorites.
history, and he was like, "You never knew
Yeah.
when to quit." And
Yeah.
I was like, "I've never heard that line before." But then he got punched or something, and he died, and blood went everywhere. Now, EliteAri, before this, anything especially violent happened in this show? I don't think so. So we're getting bloodbaths here, and I'm like, "Oh, it's pretty cool, silly."
Yep,
So
true. Oh, and did you notice, Kyle, this is a very subtle bit of visual storytelling. When the guy's like, this isn't part of the deal, and then he gives him the money, and the money falls into blood. And it's like, oh my god, blood money.
yeah, one of the coins did.
Wasn't that crazy, Kyle? Yeah. What did you think of that? Was that awesome? Were you like, whoa, this is visual storytelling right here?
I thought, why the fuck is this loser character still alive? He's a nothing, no bit loser, and he's annoying and generic, and he sucks. But he's gonna be like Jinx's boyfriend or something. No, Vi's boyfriend at the end.
Right,
Crazy.
right. Interesting prediction.
He filmed her. That's how they are.
Oh my god, I
was
can't
their first
believe you
date.
pieced it together. That was the same guy. Well done, Kyle. Jesus, you did it. I truly didn't think you would realize that for some reason. All right, so Silco and Vander.
EliteAri,
No, I
that's fun.
truly didn't because I don't remember if I did the first time. I probably did, but I don't know. So that sounded like I was slighting you there, Kyle, but don't worry, I wasn't. Silco and Vander have a conversation about their relationship. They used to be brothers, sharing a vision, the nation of Zorn, with the whole of the underground united as one. Until seemingly,
So is that just an old name, or is that the name of the country, and Piltover is the city or something?
as far as I understand at this point, I think that's a name that they came up with, that they're going to name the united like nation that is the underground. But maybe there is maybe it did come from somewhere. Well, I guess we'll see where the story goes.
Now that's crazy.
Yeah. Until seemingly, this is their backstory, they were brothers or whatever, Vander betrayed that relationship, is what Silco says. And I guess Vander also kind of agrees to it because it's like, oh, I never forgave myself for what I did to you. Or I never been able to live myself or something like that. Yeah. And then Silco, I guess it's like Vander, this is like a misunderstanding scene, right? Where Vander's talking about how he probably thinks that Silco hates him, but then Silco is talking about how he never did hate him and he actually kept his respect for him the whole time. And the only reason he started to
said
hate
he
him...
hated him for a little bit.
Oh
but
no,
that
yeah,
faded
sure.
with
I guess
time.
you're right. Yeah. The hate was there, but the respect remained, and it stayed forever basically until he started making peace with the enemy. And then he's like, "This is not my brother. Like I hate this man. How could he make peace with the people that did this to us? You know."
So,
That's
EliteAri,
cool
you're
stuff.
skipping over the transformation of this show almost being good when we're getting this generic evil bad guy. Suddenly, he's like having a nice little talk with our good guy over here, and he doesn't seem like the most evil dude, and he's got some goals or something. And it was almost like he was going to be an interesting, nuanced character. Now, eventually, he seems like he's just a bad guy in the end, so that's kind of lame. But it was all pretty good, that scene. There was only 1 or 2 bits where Vander would say something corny, and I would hate it. Oh, I never forgave you for what I. Shut up, you loser! You're ruining the scene with your corny fucking shit lines that I've heard 3 times, more than 3 times, a million times, EliteAri. But yeah, we're seeing the metamorphosis of this one-eyed guy, and he's good. And I was like, oh my god, he's good.
Just writing some stuff down, some important stuff.
He wants me to name every million time I've heard that line before. Otherwise,
no. This is important for. I need to bring it up later. Okay, so interesting perspective there on Silco. Jace and so that's the whole conversation with Silco and Vander. Yes, I agree, it was cool. Jace and Victor, 2 different names there, not Jace and Victor. Jace and Victor try to break. What is this? Oh, try to break into the research materials before they're destroyed. They run into the council member Mel, or the hot one, as Kyle says, who gives them until tomorrow to impress her. Otherwise,
wait, EliteAri, can you hear my snoring noises that I was doing just now? That was really funny.
No, but that's very funny, Kyle.
God damn it! I hate this fucking.
If only we had a soundbite you could press that was like a snoring noise or something. That'd be really funny.
Oh, is there one on?
No,
the
there isn't. No,
don't.
No. Let's not.
Sad
do that right
horn.
No.
That's like my
that's so
joke.
Funny, Kyle.
Oh, crickets. That's what I think about this story.
Do I have to take away your soundboard privileges here? Oh my god.
Okay, I'll stop.
All right, Vi runs back into Vander's bar to get her equipment to go save him because she just saw like Benzo get killed and Grayson get killed, and it's like, oh, and Vander's been knocked out and is being taken away. Maybe he's dead, maybe he's not.
Benzo, he's dead. God, I hate the line delivery. Stupid show.
So you don't like Vi's line delivery? You don't like Vi's voice actor?
No, she's pretty bad.
Oh wow, okay.
I was like, well, there's no way Laura Bailey is given this poor of a.
True. It's no Powder performance. That was a great performance. So the Milo and Clagger. Okay, let me reframe this scene entirely. Okay, so we got Vi is coming back. She thinks Vander's being taken away, and she needs to go save him. But in order to save him, she has to go and get her weapons first. So she runs back to the bar, and she goes to where the kids are, and she freaks. She doesn't say anything. She freaks out. She's trying to get her weapons, and they're all like, "What's happening? What's happening?" And she says that they've taken Vander. And then Milo and Clagger are like, "We're coming with you." And then Powder's like packing her bags, and she's like ready to go. And then Vi's like, "You're not coming or whatever." She's like, "It's too dangerous. You're not ready. You're all I have left. I can't lose you." But then and Powder's like Powder's all depressed and is like, oh my god.
Have you ever seen a scene where like the one strong-headed one wants to go and do it on their own, but the team is like, don't you know, we're a team and we're gonna do it together? That was pretty good, right?
Yeah, I've seen that a million times, Kyle. And somehow this was the best version I've ever seen of it. Isn't that crazy? What is your favorite version of this scene?
I'm trying to think because I'm thinking One Piece in my head, but I don't think a One Piece would. And if a One Piece did do it, it would be great. One Piece never had a generic pen stroke in its fucking life. It's the greatest thing. Now I'm thinking Ninja Turtles again. Leonardo would do some shit like that. He would try to go on his own. Oh, there's a Harry Potter scene that's just like it at the end of Half-Blood Prince. That's my favorite.
Wait, which one is it? With Dumbledore's army?
No. Hermione's like, oh, Harry, you're that dense. We're going with you. Was that a good Hermione impression?
Oh, you're talking about right at the end of Half-Blood Prince. Okay, yeah, that was a really good impression. Well done. Okay, all right.
Dumbledore's army's in Order of the Phoenix. You fucking moron.
I know, that's why I thought you were mistaken with your movies there. Because I remember the scene in Order of the Phoenix where they're all just like, they're like, we're with you, Harry, or whatever. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, Neville says that, I think.
Yeah.
Harry Potter's so cool. Cool that Arcane, definitely.
Yeah, not generic at all. Yeah, true. The Milo. Okay. At the end of this scene, Vi's like, if just like this, if you're ever chased by an enforcer or whatever, and I promise I'll come for you, Powder. I'll find you or whatever. And I was like, it's ominous, you know.
I don't think that was paid off yet, EliteAri. That's devilishly intriguing.
The payoff was that. I guess it's. I mean, let's just keep watching. Right?
If I forgot, you can just tell me, you fucking idiot.
No, we'll get to the end of this. So Victor and Jace are running experiments with the blue orb, and that's like intercut throughout the entire episode. You know, we got like 2 storylines going on here. And it's very dangerous.
They got to crank it, EliteAri.
Yeah, they got to
crank
it.
Really and endearing.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
I did like how kind of the opposite of what I was expecting. I guess the first time I was watching.
There's no way people think this is like the greatest show ever.
No, they definitely do. They definitely do. I don't know how early that happened. Like, I don't know if at this point people thought that yet or not. I truly have no idea. Yeah, I guess we'll see. Maybe you'll be like, oh yeah, I can see why now later.
There's no way there's not like mean mauler YouTubers that are like making fun of every line of dialogue in this show.
I have no idea. Maybe there is. If I were to pick one show of anything I've ever seen that is universally loved, it would absolutely be Arcane. I would.
There's something wrong with this world.
What else is there? What is something that you think you've seen? I guess besides the One Piece live action, but even that, I'm sure has like a lot of like haters. What's something that's like? What's something else that's like universally loved? Surely there's something, right? Spider-Verse. Maybe that's it. Spider-Verse. Everyone also loves that. Sorry, go ahead. Anything you can think of?
I don't know, like Game of Thrones before it was bad. Well, even when it
No,
was bad
even
and
that.
everybody was still pretending it was good.
No, even that had a lot of haters. I don't know. I'm sure
Yeah,
there's something out there.
Preston was alive and well. He was holding down the fort. I was there with him, EliteAri. You wouldn't understand.
True. Maybe Attack on Titan season 1, like before like
Yeah.
it got complicated or whatever. Yeah.
What about Berserk or some shit? How about that?
No,
But
there's probably people who are like, oh, it's
they're even
problematic,
Sawyer.
and it's like,
If you
oh,
give these fucking morons something that's actually good, then they'll really make you want to kill yourself. Say the line, EliteAri. Go ahead.
no, we gotta save
Arcane's
it.
not just the best Netflix television show I've ever seen. It's one of the greatest fucking stories.
Yeah, that bit unironic is what a lot of people would say. All right, Victor.
I just can't wait for the comments where they're very mad at me, and I'd be like, "What? What reality are these people living in?"
Yeah, I guess we'll see. What type
EliteAri
of
likes a
fans
bunch
we
of
get,
stupid shit. Gets away with it, right?
yeah. Ugh, Kyle, I can't wait for these later discussions we have later on. Because I can be more
Hold
passionate
on.
about the
Let's
things I'm
just.
saying.
We should do this at the end. Do you think I'm gonna love this show by the end of it? How confident are you in this?
What do I think you're gonna think about it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. I could see you going either way. I could see you really liking it, or I could see you saying it's like, it's like you don't understand why people even like it. I don't know. I could see either way.
Yeah.
Truly.
I feel like no matter what happens, the dialogue is still gonna piss me off a little bit, so therefore I won't like it too much.
Mhm.
But I don't know, because I keep thinking about Mushoku Tensei, and if you ask me what I thought about Mushoku Tensei, I'd probably say that I like it a lot.
Mhm.
Um,
I don't know. We'll
so
see.
yeah,
I don't know how much I'll color your impression of things as well. Hopefully, I can. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. What
I will
happens.
say, I definitely like the first bit of whatever it was of Mushoku Tensei that we watched better than this. But
Mhm.
I wonder if that makes Ari happy or sad. It better make him happy. He better not like this shit more than his fucking obscure weeb shit he likes.
It's
But
tough.
anyway.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll. Yeah, it's tough to compare.
Is
kind of
Turning Point 2 a better episode than shitty Arcane episode 3?
Yeah, it is. There's no question. No, it definitely is. Turning Point 2 is one of
I
my
didn't even
favorite.
like that episode.
I love Turning Point 2.
Remember when he said that Paul was only supposed to have 2 kids?
It's so cool.
Sick.
God, there's so much cool in that episode. Okay. Arcane
That's
episode
just
3.
dumb
Though.
meta shit.
I think they're both top 10 episodes of all time. I really like it.
There's no meta shit in Arcane. That's why it's fucking shitty.
What about that meta thing I just talked about? How it's a microcosm of the. I have no idea.
That's a theme thing, not a meta thing, you stupid idiot.
That's actually a meta thing because it's commenting on the theme of the show, which is actually something that's not part of the show itself. So they're actually commenting on it within the show. So it is meta. So Victor and Jace.
Character better turn to the fucking camera and say, Arcane? And that'll be pretty funny in fourth wall break.
Oh my god, they did that in the latest episode of Doctor Who. It was crazy. All right. They're running experiments. I think we talked. Did I even finish my point? I think you cut me off. I was saying how I was expecting Jace to be the one who was going to be going like, go ahead, like being reckless or whatever, because he really wants these experiments to work. But he is very like hesitant. He's like, it's too dangerous or whatever. And Victor's like, no, I trust in your research or whatever. It's going to work. So that was kind of a surprising turn there, which I liked. And then it kind of reverses itself later when it really gets dangerous. And Victor's like, okay, now I need to stop, which is like the reasonable thing to say. And then Jace is like, no, we're going to keep going or whatever. Like, I can do this. And it's like remembering all the patterns of the way he like turned the thing, like the guy who saved him back in the day. It's like, oh, it's really cool.
Is that what he was doing on the little knob?
Yeah, because it was like flashing between that and seeing the guy perform the magic, and it's kind of like channeling the actions he did to like, it was really cool. I remember that for the first time I watched it. I guess
they're
we'll have to
looking at
see.
each other longingly, and then at some point he's like, "I don't even know your name yet," so they're definitely kissing.
Perhaps.
I can't tell if I'm being funny right now or making a serious prediction. You decide.
All right, Powder.
We do have feminism.
Oh my god, Kyle!
So...
We got to the best scene in this episode. You know, which I hope people agree with me is obviously the best scene in this episode. One of the best scenes in all of Arcane, you could say. Powder is freaking out all alone. She's yelling, she's screaming.
Oh my god!
She's got spit all over her. Oh. She is throwing things on the ground. It is unquestionably the best scene in all of Arcane. What the fuck was she so upset for? Well, that's the question, isn't it? I feel like you should probably know that by this point, right? Which is that she feels like she is constantly her entire life, she feels like she's being useless.
Abandoned. They're coming back.
Useless, not abandoned, useless. She feels like people don't like her. Like she's abandoned because she is of no value. Like she can't do anything right. It's just like the climax of like her just hating herself and hating the people who are doing this to her. Like why is this happening? Why is everyone leaving me behind? That's what's so good about it. The fact that she's so young as well. Because she doesn't know how to express this, so all she can do is yell about it. I think it's very effective, or affecting.
I don't think any 8-year-old feels useless. I think they're just loving how useless they are.
I don't think they can express why. Like, I don't think they can express feeling useless. Like, I don't think they can intellectualize it, but they can express it. I guess in the same way that Powder has here by just like freaking out, and not knowing what to do. which is why I think the scene works so well.
Get over
Like, what do you
it.
do if you can't help and you know you're useless? What do? You just like rage and be like, I can't do anything, and you freak out, or you get depressed. So I don't know. I
Well,
like the freaking
raging
out
would
way here.
be okay because then you wouldn't be crying. So I'd like.
Well, she
that
was
person's
raging, and then she started crying, Kyle. So did you like the first half of this scene?
No.
Anyway, it's the best scene of all time, you know.
And it was pissing me off.
You know what? I'll probably make it the thumbnail. We'll see. Anyway, and who knows? Maybe I'll make a video about it, or maybe I won't. The kids show up to save Vanda, but it's a trap. And then Vi fights Silco. Oh, it's basically the big action thing.
So why the fuck did they let her in? So this is the problem with old I dude here, is that he's too evil, EliteAri, to be an interesting character. Why does he want to kill these fucking kids? They're just dumb kids.
That's a great question. That's a great question, Kyle. Why does he want to kill? What do you think?
Because Vander likes them and they're the good guys and he's the bad guy and it's going to be bad. And he's going to be bad.
Interesting. That's certainly interesting, Kyle. Okay, let's just keep going. So the kids.
Oh, great. It's fucking twist 2 episodes.
No, I just want to see, like, well, I want to know. I just want to know when we get to the end of this show, like, what are you going to think of, like, what all these motivations are and, like, what's going on? But yeah, we'll see.
My problem with the old I dude is I think he's already been too evil to be, like, redeemed into an interesting character.
Sure.
But I guess he hasn't.
Right.
Because what I was thinking this, like, after everything, I guess we're going to get to this, but he's still, like, after he thinks he's won, he's still, like, kill the girl. And I'm like, why? Why did he have to say that? Even if he didn't say it and he still just pointed over there or something, that would be okay, but I don't know.
Okay. I can't say anything about Silco, you know? His story is still going. He's alive, you know? The kids show up to save Vander, but it's a trap. Vi fights Silco's men while the others try and break Vander out. And then there's a fight. You know, Vi's knocking out the big guy in the air. What do you think of that cool shot? That was awesome, Kyle. It was like slow motion, and he's like getting sent in the air. She like punches him, the uppercuts.
Oh yeah, the show would do slow motion all the time.
It was so cool. Goofy, huh? Yeah, I agree.
One time Vander got punched, and it was supposed to be a big dramatic moment, I think, but it was slow motion, and I was like, "That's funny."
That's a really interesting reaction for the first time, because when he gets punched in the head, that's obviously when I as a viewer think this is he's obviously going to die here because they're doing it in slow motion.
Oh
the
yeah,
music is playing.
How have I not brought this up yet? This fucking idiot's the biggest death flag walking God's green earth the second he shows up. So obviously he's gonna die at some point. So I'm already expecting that.
Wait, and you still thought it was goofy when he was getting in slow motion, getting hit in the head?
Well, he's not gonna die from a punch. He's gonna get stabbed or something obvious. And then the big guy showed up, and I was like, oh, he's gonna get like ripped apart in front of her. This episode's been violent so far. It's gonna be sick.
So when you saw him get punched in episode 2, at the beginning of this episode, sorry, when they're like, you know, when they show up and they kill the enforcer guy, they kill Benzo, and then they punch Vander and Vi's watching. Do you think that he's just getting knocked out there?
Obviously, they're going to take him someplace. We got the fucking rest of the episode to go, you fucking idiot.
That's wild to me. When I was watching it...
Oh, and then we skipped the scene earlier where Vi's freaking out, and obviously they just took him somewhere, and she's having a fucking hissy fit. Get over it. Go save him. Hurry up.
So when I was watching, I thought it was very obvious visual storytelling.
I would like to point out before EliteAri retorts that one time in a movie he made fun of a girl for screaming in her bedroom or something because her whole family got killed. Continue, EliteAri. I'm just poisoning.
I can defend that easily. That was ridiculous. God. Anyway, that's all I need to say.
That's my favorite EliteAri moments.
Like, I get her family died, but like, why do you have to scream for that long? It's absurd. Anyway, so, God, what was I saying now? Oh yeah, because Vi is watching, and it's like, you know, you said the show is generic, you know, so it's going to indulge in all the generic things. Obviously, when a character dies, the kid has to be watching the dad die, and the dad is getting punched, and it's in slow motion. The climactic music is playing, and you're like, oh my god, this is the scene where he dies, and her story changes forever, and she has like a vengeance or whatever that she has to fulfill, you know. I can't believe you didn't think of that. Like when you were watching.
It was the beginning of the episode, and it was slow motion.
All right, fair enough. Okay, so then yeah, Vi.
Who was right at the end? This guy.
True, you were. I'll give you that. Vi knocks the big guy in the air, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. You know, Kyle thought it was goofy. And then she beats everyone.
I don't remember this shot, by the way. I don't think it was goofy. I just don't remember.
All right. And then yeah, she basically wins. She beats all those people until the purple-blooded monster thug guy shows up. And then she like runs away. She's like, oh my god. And she like closes the door and hides with Vander, and they try and break him out. Like it's their number one priority.
They were gonna break him out.
True, they did break him out.
Bitch.
Yeah, we're getting to it. So it seems basically like they're gonna get away. We get this scene of like, we get a brief moment of like relief where it's like Clagger is broken through the wall, Milo's like unlocked all of Vander's restraints, and then Powder's like monkey comes through, and I like how she like put her forehead against the monkey, and she's like, please work or whatever. That was really cute. Another cute Powder thing. And she sends it in, and then it all turns to tragedy. Kyle, isn't that crazy? What did you think of this? The
funniest thing is it exploded, and I'm like, oh, that's how they're gonna get out of fighting this fucking big thing. But the big thing didn't even die; just her dumb friends did. So that was pretty funny.
Indeed. What Well, there was a few people who died. Well, I guess we'll list it all. Oh no, I have it here in a list right here. What are the odds? But
I will say I didn't expect her to kill the fucking 2 other dudes.
Mhm.
They were probably gonna die at some point, but
Wait, what 2 people? What do you mean?
Milo and
Oh, 2
Clanger.
kids. Okay. Yeah. True, because they're not important. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I like the monkey. I like the sound effects of it. I like the idea of it, of like having this monkey that like claps and like claps the energy out of the orbs. Like that's a cool idea. Like, Jinx is like a genius when it comes to these things, apparently. Not really. I guess it's just the writers. It's a cool idea. Then oh yeah, so basically Milo and Clagger die. The tough woman's arm gets blown up. Vi is trapped under the rubble. The scientific guy who was like the one making the purple things, he gets blown up. Powder falls. Oh, and then Powder falls out the window with the ethereal music playing. That was really cool as well. Then, yeah, that's like the tragic ethereal music scene. Then we transition to the kind of sadness afterwards, which is like when Vander has to take over. Because you see, I guess the interesting thing here is to see Vander witness the death of his kids, right? Like he outlives them. Like he doesn't just like die off screen or something, or he doesn't like not see them die. He sees that they're dead, and then he has to go fight afterwards because he sees that Vi is alive. That's kind of sad. Like I thought that got to me a lot, and the music works quite well for that as well. Any thoughts on that, Kyle?
Now I wasn't paying attention for like 10 seconds there.
All right, the emotions.
We're talking about
the emotions of Vander seeing the kids dead and
falls down and has to eat the stuff and get back up.
No. Before that, when he first wakes up from after the powder's explosion, and then he sees that the kids are dead, and he's outlived all the kids basically. I
guess he thinks he's dead there, huh?
Yeah, he thinks that they're all dead, and he's the last one left. And then he sees that Vi is there, and then he like gets up and is like, "Oh god, I have to do something here."
Yeah.
And the music is very sad there as well.
But then she was just moving around.
True. Okay. However, the moving had one of the coolest shots.
What does he do? He gets up after that?
He gets up to fight, yeah, to like defend her, I guess.
Yeah.
But it was really cool. The shot of like how she's upside down and then she like twists her whole body to like turn around and the camera pans with her. That's a really cool shot. Let's see. What was that?
It was silly. Why? How come she can?
It's because you missed it. You didn't understand the subtle details of What do you mean how'd she move like that, Kyle? That's absurd.
If she's rotate. Pinned down, how is there enough move for her to like turn over?
Because she has her hands, Kyle.
I guess.
Oh, come on.
She's just that strong, huh?
Vander takes over. No, she doesn't move the rock either. She's just moving her upper body. If you're pinned in the bottom, you can still rotate your body. What are you talking about? I thought you were a wrestler.
Your legs are trapped under a lot of weight. What the fuck is this idiot talking about?
If your legs... I don't even know what you're talking about. If your legs are trapped under weight, how does that have to do with the rotation of your spine, which is not connected to your legs in any way? What does that mean? What are you talking about, guys?
Because your body is still connected to your legs.
So you think if I were to grab your legs right now, you couldn't turn around and look at me a little bit? Like you couldn't like turn your upper body?
You could. She turned her whole body over. I guarantee it.
No. She turned her upper body. Kyle, this is ridiculous. All right.
Well, I don't have Netflix up to check, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
All right. After this, I'll send a nice link and we'll see who's right. And then we'll pin a comment or something. Okay. Anyway, Vander takes over the fight. He's fighting the monster and it's epic. It's like, oh my god, this is the moment where the strong guy gets the weapon and he's fighting this strong thing. He's actually beating
League
the
of
monster.
Legends with the punches. He's gonna punch. Apparently, it's not.
Yeah, apparently it's not. Yeah. And he does a good job. He's fighting that monster, but the monster still beats him a bit. And then he gets stabbed by Silco. And then they're like intercutting between that and the backstory, and it's all really cool. And Vander's got his like angry face, and it's like really detailed and zoomed in, and it's like awesome, like cool visual. And then he gets thrown into the purple liquid. But before that, what do you think about this? Did you like the intercutting of the backstory between Silco and Vander when they're doing that final thing? Because obviously it's a very direct visual storytelling thing of like what happened back then is happening now, but Silco is finishing it, whereas like actually stabbing Vander and killing him here. And obviously tying in with the beginning of the episode as well, yeah.
Because he has him and he's grabbed. Now, I thought that happened after he drank the purple.
No, but after he drinks it, he runs out the window because it's going to explode and he saves Vi. The stabbing is what causes him to fall down into the pit below.
So he's got him by the throat beforehand.
No, what happens is that Vander is fighting...
I thought the throat grabbing was when the intercutting happened.
Yeah, it is. So Vander is fighting the big monster thing, and then from behind comes Silco and stabs Vander in the back, and then Vander turns around, grabs Silco by the throat, and the intercutting is happening. But I think it like the cut for the knife happens right after. Like Silco stabs him, and then you get the cut from the backstory at the same time, and then like it's just cutting back and forth there.
Yeah, it was a cool part in the backstory where the cut, like he cuts, they both stab each other at the same time, but it's only on screen for like one frame. That was pretty cool.
True.
I assume that's when he stabbed him in the eye or something. Other than that, I do not recall having a big emotional response to this part.
All right, that's fair. That's very interesting.
I think the stuff at the start I liked because of the monologue, not really because it was like the Vanda stuff. That kind of was like oh duh, that's gonna happen, and that was sort of my shock at it. But I don't know.
Wait, so what you thought that what did you think was going to happen? I don't understand.
What did I think was gonna happen when?
Well, you said, oh, but obviously that's going to happen. So then it didn't work or something, is what I thought you were saying. Something about Vanda. At the beginning, you're like, okay, it was good for the monologue, but then I already knew that this was going to happen.
Oh,
so it
I
didn't
liked
work.
that scene because of the monologue.
Yeah, I got that bit.
And so cutting back to it now is not like it's not like I was super invested in like what was happening in the scene. So to have the cutting didn't really do nothing.
Oh, so you don't care about the visuals of the monologue whatsoever. You just care about what was being said.
I mean, the visuals were okay, but the plot's significant of the visuals. I wasn't like, oh, we're back to it, and I love the book ending of it.
Wait, so what'd you like about the monologue?
Because he wasn't cringe in his dialogue.
Huh. So what'd you like about it? That's what you like didn't not like about it.
Are you gonna ask me how I know what dialogue is good or not?
No, not at all. Like I'm just thinking, like what was about the scene that you liked? Just generally, like if I did it look good? Did it sound good? Did he sound really cool? Like what do you?
Yeah, he sounded pretty cool, bro.
All right, I'll take that. All right, then Vanda, he turns into the purple monster thing, but then he chooses to save Vi instead of kill Silco, and then he dies on the ground outside. It's like, oh my god. Then Powder shows up. And she's all excited. She's like, "Oh my god, Vi, it worked! It worked! My monkey bomb worked!" And then she looks around and she realizes Vanda's dead and like is a monster. And then she sees she killed Clagger, and she kind of implies that Milo is dead as well. And she sees that Vi is not very happy at the moment. And she's like, "I only wanted to help." And she like says that a few times, and she's like freaking out. And the animation's really cool. And the voice acting's really cool. And I love Powder so much because this scene's great. And then before that, she calls her Violet for the first time. I think this is when we get the introduction of the name Violet, which is when Powder calls her by her full name for the first time. It's like, oh wow. At least that's what maybe I missed it and they said it earlier on, but that's when it worked for me, yeah. Then Vi calls her a Jinx. And she's like, Milo's right, you are a Jinx. And then she like hits her, and then she realizes that she like made her bleed, and she like runs away. Any thoughts on that, Kyle?
No, you gotta finish the whole thing.
All right, then we got the not the best scene, but the greatest scene in this episode, which is that Vi basically walks away, and then Jinx is like screaming. She's like, come back, whatever. Don't leave me. Why'd you leave me? And all that. And then Silco shows up. And meanwhile, Vi changes her mind. She's like, oh my god, Powder, because she sees Silco there. And the guy, like Marcus, comes up and he's like, if he sees you, he'll kill you. And then he like chloroforms her and takes her away. Then we get the scene here. Do you want to describe this, or do you want me to describe it? Do you remember it in enough detail?
She hugs the dude, and then she's gonna be with them now. That's crazy.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Silco shows up, and he's like, "Oh, what happened to your sister? Where's your sister?" Because obviously the sister is the one who was killing all his men or beating all his men before. And he's like, "She's not my sister anymore," and she like pounces and hugs him or whatever. And then obviously, Silco looks at his brother, and who isn't his brother anymore. They grew apart. And then he's like, "Oh, we'll show them all," or whatever. And then yeah, we got an evil eye look from Powder. It's like, oh my god. So what do you think about all this, Kyle?
It was like the Anne one from Black Sails, except nowhere near as cool.
This was way cooler than that, but yeah, okay.
Kill yourself, EliteAri. The
okay.
This scene was good because it made me switch I couldn't tell where we were going with the whole story. Because at first they just see each other, and Powder's having oh my goodness, I mean Jinx, obviously. I've been doing that all this, and I can't.
Wait, who's Jinx?
Slightly been pissing EliteAri off,
okay,
and
yeah.
like I can't stop doing it now. But I just ruined it because I ruin everything.
Of course,
but,
yeah.
That's just okay, and I'm just useless, just like Powder.
Just believe in yourself. I know your inventions will work. Yeah, go ahead.
So they're having this scene, and at first I'm like, that's kind of funny. She's like freaking out that her bomb worked, but she actually killed her friends. That's crazy. I can't believe they did that. How's she going to deal with that emotional something? That's going to be funny. And then she hits her, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't expect them to do that. And then they have a breakup scene that's way too quick, and I'm like, this is awful. Why are they breaking up right now? Oh, and then in that moment, I'm like, oh, yeah. I saw a YouTube video title that was like, oh, the tale of fighting sisters or something, because V and Jinx that's the actual conflict of the whole show, I think, and the whole last episode is gonna be them fighting or something. Soy. That's pretty cool. But I remembered that as I saw this breakup happening, it sort of shifted my expectations for things generally. But then I was like, no, this is kind of a bad way to do it. They're having like the fight is way too quick, and then I'm like, oh, this is kind of shitty. And then I don't remember if the bad guy shows up, but then she gets chloroformed and Jinx goes with the bad guys. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of a clever way to do it. It's Jockey Bacon would be freaking out right now because it's all coincidence related. And if they just talked about it, this could all be avoided or whatever. But they get taken away and separated. And Jinx, the good little nice girl, it's probably the main character, is with the bad guys. That's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So the last scene was good.
So I agree, but I didn't like the scene for any of that. But I guess I kind of described what I liked about it, which is the emotions of it, you know? Like the two brothers, the two sisters. Yeah, Powder truly feeling like everyone has left her. It's so sad. I guess there is also the element, which I guess you mentioned, but the fact that Vi, like you said, it was kind of like, why are they blowing up here? And this is like their breakup, but it wasn't really their breakup. Like Vi realized that she hit her and she walked away, and then she changed her mind when she saw Silco and she's going to go save her.
Yeah.
So it's not really a breakup at that point, or at least not from like Vi's perspective. Maybe
Well,
from
I was
Powder's
talking about
perspective.
before that point, obviously.
Wait, why are you saying like, why is Vi angry that Powder killed all her friends and her dad?
No, I was just saying it was quick because, well, I didn't think I just thought that's like the show was saying this is going to be their breakup scene and they're not going to see each
Oh,
other
because
for
of your
5
like
years and they're just gonna
forewarning.
walk
Okay,
away.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, not even because of the forewarning, just because, well, obviously that's what's going to happen. I've seen this scene a million times. It's just kind of funny that they're breaking up so easily. But then they had little plot elements of this dude chloroforming her and the other one going with the bad guys that made it make a bit more sense. Made it a little bit more tragic.
I'm so excited after I read my notes out to see all your predictions for this generic show where you know where everything is going. I'm so excited to see if you predict everything accurately, because next time we can be like,
whatever they do will be generic. Don't you worry.
Yeah, but at least you can't claim, oh, I saw this coming a mile away, because you didn't say it. So I'm very glad.
I'll see it in the moment.
Well, so will I, and so will everyone else watching. You know. All right.
Nah.
So the episode. Oh, I said that already. We have a few notes here. I have one I grayed out because I'm like, I shouldn't say this to Kyle. This is stuff for later. Love the raging Silco insert shot at the beginning. I mentioned that already. Old woman's dead. The blood money symbolism it cracks me up. A lot of cool insert shots, which I can't possibly point out. The Powder angry scene talks about that. Where do I guess we at this point of a discussion? What do you think is happening with the blue orbs?
They're like magic or something, and they explode sometime.
Okay, cool. Remembering. I have said that already. Arcane sparingly, already mentioned that. Look at all these things we've already talked about. Love the sound effects of Power's monkey toy. Also said that. The genius idea, the power falling, a euphoric moment. Her inventions finally work. She's proved her worth. She saved everyone. Love that Vander outlived his kids. I also said that. Oh my, it's like I've read these notes before. The music is great. Love the Vi turning shot, which Kyle hates and thinks is unrealistic. This is one thing we didn't mention, but from a visual standpoint as well, I like the changing colors. It happens a few times for instance, the Dragon Ball Super Broly. That's one where it happens in. But in this final fight, there's 3 different color schemes where initially there's the explosion that's very blue, and the whole scene is basically the atmosphere is entirely blue. Then you have aftermath of the explosion, which everything is basically green, and then the liquid, the purple stuff ignites, and then everything turns orange, and it's like these 3 kind of distinct, very visually distinct atmospheres of the episode. Or that scene particularly, which I thought was awesome. Then, I think we've actually talked about everything else. Silco scene with Powder. It visually, I think so far of the show, the scene with Silco and Powder then is probably the most visually interesting, because you have the rain, you've got the fire, there's the blood everywhere. It looks really cool. Like it looks very detailed as well, compared to anything else we've seen. And there's obviously a bunch of visual storytelling in that last bit, but I've talked about it in my video. So if anyone's interested, go look up it's like called The Greatest Scene in Arcane or something. Look up EliteAri and check out that video where I talk about the amazing visual storytelling in that final episode.
But
actually, now that I think about it, maybe save that video, Kyle, until you've seen the next episode, because I guess it kind of implies where the story is going.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so save it for the next one, then you can. But you know what? You can even watch the next one tonight, Kyle. There you go. Hugging Silco, that's fine. One of those moments where, I sat in the credits for this one, Kyle, this last one. But let me guess, you skipped them entirely. You were like, you know what? That was terrible.
I watched the credits for every fucking episode of everything I ever watched in my life. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to?
Well, to me, this is one of those prime examples of the credits setting the tone of the show and being perfect. But I also talked about that in my episode, in my video. So yeah. All right. Now I have some questions for you, Kyle. One, most importantly, who's your favorite character or favorite characters? What's going on with that? You had some notes.
Well, it was either Jinx or Silco, but Silco has a shitty name and Jinx has a cool name that isn't Powder. It's Jinx.
What name do you think's cooler, Powder or Jinx?
Jinx. Powder sucks.
Damn. But don't you think it's one of those examples of calling someone like the Academy or something, being like, "Oh, Jinx," because she's a Jinx? Don't you think Powder's
Oh,
cooler?
Soy when they're like, oh, she's a Jinx, but that's already her name, so it can't be Soy in retrospect.
Okay, interesting. Okay. I also another thing I want to know is which of the storylines are you the most invested in so far? Like we've had a few. We have the stuff on the obviously we have Jace's stuff. We have
That one.
Silco's and Vanda's stuff.
He.
We've got Powder and Vi. We've got well, there's a few other small ones. Those are the three main ones, I guess we would say. Which of those have you found the most
I
interesting?
feel like there's two storylines. There's the sisters and the stupid gay boys.
Well, and there's the two brothers, I would say, in Silco and Vanda. I'd say that's a storyline.
Amanda's fucking dead, and Silco's now Jinx's daddy figure.
So that's your least
he's
favorite
in that one.
storyline. Okay. So what's your
I mean,
most favorite?
it was probably the best one, I guess, but it's over now, so that's unfortunate.
Okay.
And it's not the Magic Boys, they suck. So by default, it's the sisters.
All right. So
Am I
now,
allowed to make predictions now, EliteAri?
go ahead. What are your predictions, Kyle?
Well, obviously, Vi went off with this dude, so either she's gonna become an enforcer. Now that would be crazy, but probably not. So probably, I don't know.
Prediction or not? so she might become an enforcer, or she might not become an enforcer. Okay, interesting.
I'm not making any hard predictions here. I'm not gonna be wrong.
Right,
Fucking idiot.
Okay.
They're gonna be separated. Obviously,
Wait,
the more
who?
interesting one is, huh?
Who's being
The
separated?
sisters. You
Oh,
stupid
okay.
idiot.
Yeah.
Jinx is gonna go off and she's gonna be real edgy for a little while, and then now we've got some. They're all generic routes. The show isn't doing anything interesting. Don't get me wrong. So we got she becomes Silco's favorite, and all the other guys are gonna complain that she's Silco's favorite. Is Silco or Silpho? What the fuck's his name?
Silco.
I'm so smart. I can see that scene. That scene's definitely gonna happen.
Mhm.
And then eventually she's gonna find out that he killed Vanda. Now, a super sick thing would be if she was like, I don't care about Vanda. I was 8. Fuck you, Vi, and you care a lot, and you're here to fight me, and it's episode 6, and we're going to have a fight in episode 6 and a fight in episode 9. And whoever we want to win is going to lose the first one, but win the second one. Nah, they're totally going to be on the same side and turn on Silco in the end, and he's going to be the bad guy or something.
Mm-hmm.
Is that enough predictions for you?
Yeah, I'm just writing.
I don't know how the fuck these magic idiots are relevant to anything. Magic sucks. They suck. I wonder if they're going to become bureaucrats and we're going to beat them up, or if they're going to end up being on our side and all of our characters are going to come together against a greater evil. I hate Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm. What do you think is the grander story that will be like, or the grander plot, let's say, rather than like theme stuff? Like, what do you think? What do you think episode 9 will end? Like, what'll be like the? I don't know.
The sisters are going to come together to fight something, or they're going to fight each other. But
okay. What do you think?
All about these sisters.
Yeah, okay. So you think the sister relationship is the most important part?
This shitty show's 9 episodes. There's not a plot. Don't pretend.
Right. So what do you think? We know what Act 1 has been now. What do you think Act 2 will be, and what do you think Act 3 will be?
Oh, I'm gonna fucking map this shit out. Why don't I just write the show?
True.
We got.
You can't, right? You don't have a sister. How could you write a relationship
then it
with a
wouldn't
sister?
be so shitty. True. I don't know. Are they gonna fight at the end of Act 2 and Act 3? Are we going to find out about Silco's betrayal in Act 2 or Act 3? Those things got to happen. I don't know what else is going to happen, so I got no idea.
Okay. What do you think the next episode will
like? I will say I spoiled something because I read the episode 4 description and before I watched episode 2, so I knew their magic succeeded, but obviously that was going to happen. But other than that, I don't really know any spoilers. I was going to read all the plot summaries, but after episode 4 actually had a spoiler in it, and it wasn't a Madman a Madman one where it's like Don Draper solves a problem, Peggy has an issue. I was like, oh, I guess I shouldn't do this. EliteAri would be mad. But my eyes might slip. I might see a thumbnail or two. Also, I've seen the art, and Jinx looks pretty sick, and she's like laid back, and she looks mad at something, and grumpy and edgy. So that's pretty.
Okay. Where do you? Okay, you think there's going to be a time skip next episode, is what you're saying. You thought they're going to be like, she's going to be called Jinx now, and they're going to be.
Oh well, if they make me wait longer, I'm going to be grumpy. But maybe.
Okay. And then my last thing is, well, you said, okay, whatever. That's too complicated to ask you.
Oh yeah, I'm just a simpleton. I can't.
Yeah, you're a nice simpleton. You think everything's too generic. You know, you won't have any nuanced takes here. What do you think?
No, just the shit you like, EliteAri.
Okay,
not the shit
let's
I
be
like.
bold here, Kyle. Since it's so generic, what would Act 2 of a story like this, ending on the way Act 1 did, what's going to be the first scene of the next part? Like, what's going to be the opening scene for the next episode? Go ahead.
Jinx and the crew are doing on a mission, and because we got to start with the action, and there's like they're all going to be around, but she's going to have a thing on her head because you can't see her, and then it's going to be a big dramatic reveal 5 minutes in when she takes it off, just like that Uncharted Lost Legacy trailer. You know the one.
Are you talking about Vi? Or are you talking about Powder?
I'm talking about Jinx.
Okay, you think Jinx, like for the show, like the meta of the audience?
We don't need to see this Vi bitch for like 2 episodes. She's boring.
Okay.
She's lame. Okay.
Yeah. All right, I think I get it. Okay. These are some great predictions, Kyle. I'm so excited. And my goodness, am I more excited for the next discussion because I can say a lot more about my thoughts on this show. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And no one in the audience, don't spoil things, all right?
I will be reading every comment.
And I do know things, all right, guys? It might sound like I'm making mistakes here when I'm talking to Kyle. That tends to happen in some discussions.
Yeah,
but don't worry.
He thinks he's clever and sly.
I am
that
thing
thing
you
think he doesn't remember, he actually does
don't have
remember.
to correct
he just knows
me
the
on
ways
things.
to not do it. Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Kyle?
I gotta pee.
All right. Who knows when the next one's coming? It'll depend on how long Kyle takes to watch these, I guess.
In like the next 3 days, I guarantee it.
All right, good. So see you then, and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this.
See you next Tuesday.